Oh, and I'm going to pin the commissioners. Mary, you have your hand up.
Do you want somebody to help with managing the waiting room? I'd be glad to
That
help.
would be great. Thank you. Let me just finish pinning here. And everybody. Now, where's Teddy? There he is. All right, I am going to get started. This is the March 4th, 2026 meeting of the Lunenburg Conservation Commission. We are starting at 7:03 p.m. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being video recorded. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken from these discussions. Not all items may be discussed, and other items may be raised to the extent permitted by open meeting law. Please be advised that the town of Lunenburg utilizes Zoom platform as host for its hybrid and remote meetings. So the Zoom platform utilizes AI technology, known as AI Companion, to create audio transcriptions of meetings to aid in the subsequent preparation of meeting minutes, and that the AI Companion is activated immediately upon launching the Zoom application. You are hereby notified that this AI technology may capture audio prior to the start of the meeting and or following the conclusion of the meeting. And do a roll call. Teddy Doucette,
Here.
Richard Bursch,
Present.
Mike LaRouche,
Present.
Andrea Burnett,
Here.
Mary Wilson,
Here.
and I'm here. Okay, that's everyone. We do not have any appointments tonight. And for announcements, public comment. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes and on a subject matter under the direct jurisdiction of the Conservation Commission. Comments about current agenda items are to be made during the comment period of a specific agenda item. Please address all comments to the chair. Do we have any public comment? I don't see anyone. Okay, minutes of the previous meetings. We have minutes from February 18th. Has everyone had a chance to look at those?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone have any comments or concerns?
Madam
Okay.
Chair, I would make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from February 18th.
Awesome.
Accept and approve.
Second.
Is that Teddy?
Yep.
That seconded? Okay. All right. Roll call vote. Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
and I for myself. Minutes approved from February 18th, 2026. I'm gonna remove the pin for her, Lynn, because I keep almost calling on her in the vote. Okay. On to new public hearings. All hearings are pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws. Up first, we have 860 New West Townsend Road, NOI-26-1, with a notice of intent by Daniel and Rachel Brackett for a common driveway to provide access to 4 residential lots. We did not do
Madam,
sidewalks this weekend because, oh, yep, Greg.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm here for that. So go ahead.
Okay,
Keep going.
awesome. I was just gonna say there's way too much snow on the ground, so there was nothing for us to see. So I just wanted to let everybody that's on the meeting know that we didn't do any sidewalks this weekend. Okay, Greg. So you are here representing the
I
brackets?
am. Greg Roy with Dillson Roy representing the brackets this evening. If you don't believe Jenny that there's too much snow, ask my survey crews. They'll tell you that they'll vouch for the fact that there's too much snow this winter.
Yeah. It's not
We're-
too much snow. I love the amount of snow, but it makes it very hard to see the ground on properties. So
yeah. So what I want to do this evening is give you folks a general overview. Um, Put it in the context of the overall permitting effort that we're working on here, I want to acknowledge that I think today at like 3 or 4, we did get DP comments, which I haven't even had a chance to really read, never mind respond to. But I want to give you an overview of the project, take any initial comments, but obviously I know that you folks will need to get out on site once the snow conditions allow. We'll need to work through the process on that. So if you wouldn't mind, Madam Chair, would it be acceptable to share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Do.
bear with me here. Okay, how's that? Can you all see that? I'm going to blow it up a little bit. Are you seeing the plan?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we have a somewhat complex project here. The project is at 860 New West Townsend Road, not to be confused with Townsend Road or West Townsend Road. This is the road that is a north-south road that is right on the Fitchburg Lunenburg line, way on the western side of Lunenburg. And it's on the northerly side of Lunenburg at that. So you're almost into Townsend and Ashby at this point. So it's quite a ways up. For context, Howard Street comes down sort of off the plan here, but we're not far from Howard Street here, just down gradient of the larger development that's been in the works for quite a while there on Howard Street. So to kind of put you in the context, down gradient of that development. And the overall project is the development of 4 residential housing lots. The brackets are looking to sort of looking towards highest and best use of the property, if you will. So last fall, we submitted an application to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit to allow to request a special permit for a townhouse style development on each lot. And the Zoning Board of Appeals granted a 5-unit townhouse use on each lot. So the overall project includes 4 lots, each with a 5-unit townhouse on them. So we have a total of 20 residential housing units in total on this proposed development. The access to the project is proposed via a shared driveway, a common driveway, which requires a special permit from the planning board. Additionally, the work triggers compliance with the Lunenburg stormwater management bylaw. So we need an additional permit, a stormwater permit from the planning board relative to that. And any multifamily dwelling of this size that's proposed also requires site plan approval from the planning board. So in the context of overall permitting, this is sort of our second stop. We did go to zoning board, as I mentioned last fall. Your process, notice of intent process, is the second thing that we've embarked on. But concurrently with this filing, we've also filed with the planning board for all 3 of those permits. So special permit for common driveway, stormwater management permit, and site plan approval. That's a joint filing, if you will, but there's really 3 filings baked into that filing. So I just want to put you in the context of overall permitting effort here. The project is located on the easterly side of New West Townsend Road. 860 New West Townsend Road is actually in this white space here. The existing house where the Brackets currently live is located right here. They own approximately 30 acres. Don't quote me on the 30 acres. That's rough. But they own a large chunk of wooded area to the north and east of their house. And a few years back, we did the soil testing on the property to document that we had 4 areas that were suitable for on-site sewage disposal systems. And that's what drove our 4-lot project. There's actually enough area. If the soils had been a little bit different, there's actually enough area to do a subdivision here. If soils were a little bit different, this might have been more of a conventional subdivision type of project. But there's really only enough. The soils on the site are relatively tight, dense glacial till with some ledge in areas. So there's really only 4 areas that we could identify on the site for on-site septic systems. So there are some wetlands, of course, located on the property, which is why we're here this evening. And I'm going to try to highlight this as I go, so bear with me. The main wetland area that's in play here is located on the northerly side, and the best I can to highlight this. And it kind of comes up like this. It's fairly linear in this location here, actually all the way down. But that's the primary wetland that's in question. Flows from, right to left, if you will. Uphill is on the right side of your screen. Downhill is on the New West Townsend Road side, and then flows through a culvert across New West Townsend Road in that area there. So a lot of the work that we're proposing is within the 100-foot buffer zone. We're not proposing any work within your 30-foot no touch zone. So we've been able to completely this inner dashed line here, and I won't follow it all the way up the screen, but we've held that. Of course, we're talking new construction here, so we didn't dare ask you for any waivers relative to your 30 and 50-foot no disturb and no structure zones. So we're honoring that. We have a common driveway that's shown in this alignment here. This is really more pertinent to the site plan approval process, but we're proposing a pretty significant, what we believe is a pretty significant improvement to the sight line condition on this curve. Right now, it's a pretty difficult curve, and we're going to be pulling back pretty dramatically the existing grades in that area to dramatically improve the sight lines, both for oncoming traffic, but also for as it relates to the driveway exiting out onto the road. But that's more for site plan approval process. But I just wanted to point that out. The project, because it's greater than 4 units, in addition to needing to be compliant with the Lunenburg Stormwater Management Bylaw, also requires compliance with the Massachusetts stormwater management policy because in virtue of the fact that it's more than 4 units. So we have also prepared a comprehensive stormwater management report that was filed with the planning board, but also filed with this conservation notice of intent filing because we trigger stormwater management compliance under the Wetlands Protection Act, in addition to the planning board filing, as I mentioned. And I wanted to point out to the board, like other filings we've had in recent past where there have been commercial filings that have required stormwater management reports, you don't have to take my word for the fact that you don't have to take our word for the fact that we've designed this in compliance with stormwater management. The planning board is hiring Graves Engineering. They're indeed working on a peer review currently. So that is a pending process. And we will, although not directly related to your board, they are reviewing all of the metrics that you would be reviewing, the 10 standards of the stormwater management policy. So I'm certain that your board is going to be interested to see the outcome of that review before you make any final decision on this. But suffice it to say, it's a fairly steep site. And so the stormwater management system, I'll describe as fairly decentralized here. We don't have one large stormwater basin like you might see on some developments. We have a lot of smaller areas sprinkled throughout the site. Got one in here, We have one over in this area here. We have one down in this area. We have one over here, and we have one down in this area here. All of them, as I mentioned, all the grading is outside of your 30-foot no disturb zone. All of the infiltration components of those areas are greater than 50 feet, as required by the stormwater management policy from the bordering vegetated wetland. And they have pre-treatment and things by way of sediment forebays and swales and things like this to manage the other metrics of the stormwater management policy. I think the only other thing I'll mention is the on-site sewage disposal systems have all been designed in compliance with Massachusetts Title V, of course, but also local Board of Health requirements, and that requires that all of the leaching areas be completely outside of the 100-foot buffer zones. So while we might have the one system up in the front where we have some grading within the buffer zone that really ties into the driveway, all of the leaching components of those systems are outside of the buffer zone in compliance with local Board of Health regulations, which requires a 100-foot setback to bordering vegetated wetlands. So I think that's where I'll leave it for now. It's obviously a pretty complicated project, more so than you're probably used to seeing. So I'm happy to take any questions or concerns. Like we let off, like the chair let off with, I know that you weren't able to do a site walk, and I know you're going to want to do a site walk for sure on this property. So I of course anticipate a continuation here. And here's hoping for some good snow melt in the next week because we really need it all around. But be that as it may, I'm happy to take any initial comments or questions that any members of the commission may have, or public, of course.
Thanks, Greg. It's supposed to be almost 70 next week, so I
Thank
think
the
we'll
Lord.
get some
Thank the
snow
Lord. Bring it
melt.
on.
I had a question about the DEP comments. I actually
Yeah,
am
I
looking
read them. I
at
read
the
them, but
portal.
Yeah.
I don't see any. And I was wondering what they.
Oh, yeah, they had. I got them on by email. Let me see if I can.
So maybe they just
Let's
haven't
see.
put them in the portal yet.
Yeah, they may not. Well, someone put them in the portal tonight. I thought I saw that. I got.
I'm looking at the actual. I looked on the OpenGov because I thought they might be there, but
I thought
but
that
then I
someone
was.
put them on that, but maybe not.
Madam Chair, they're on OpenGov on their DEP comments for 816 US Townsend Road.
Yeah, I looked and I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm missing it.
You might have to scroll down. Sometimes it's. I
Let
can
me
go over
see.
them with you. I'll go over them with you just for the record. I'm not really prepared to talk to any of them tonight, but I can
Okay.
maybe
I
opine a
can,
little bit on a few of them.
yeah, I mean, if you'd rather wait, that's fine. I was
No,
just,
I'll read them. I'll read them into the record here. The first two I haven't actually encountered before, so this is a little bit interesting, and I'm going to have to talk with my client on this. Number one is the lot was recently cleared under a forest cutting plan, and they referenced the plan number. FCPs, forest cutting plans, are not intended for clearing in preparation for development, and limited cutting was allowed in the wetland. If the wetland was overcut during the forest harvesting, replanting, restoration of this area should be proposed under this NOI. Any recently cleared areas of buffer zone beyond proposed tree lines should be allowed to regrow. Mass DEP also notes the approved FCP for the site was marked for long-term forest management. So I have absolutely no idea. I'm going to talk to my client. All I know is that there was some forestry work done on the property. I really have no idea. It's outside the limit of what I've done so far relative
okay.
to what was cut or what. So I'm going to have to dig into this and get back to you on the specifics of that. Second is, I guess, related, the intent of the memorandum of understanding between DCR and DEP to allow exemptions from wetland permitting for cutting projects intended for forest management purposes, not changes in land use. Because of this recent cutting and lack of corresponding stormwater mitigation associated with the cutting, The existing conditions on the property should be modeled as good condition woods, not fair or poor, to account for proposed changes in land use on the property. I'll just comment generally on these two things. First is, in no way based on my understanding, in no way was the forestry work done in preparation or in anticipation of this project. It was done well in advance of this project even being conceptualized. So I don't think the two are linked at all. There was no like, let's clear the land under a forest management permit to get ready for this permit. I don't think that sentiment exists. So I'll just say that out for the record. And secondly, relative to the stormwater modeling, I did take a quick look at our calculations. We did indeed model the woods as good condition, pursuant to what they're requesting. So, I think that the second comment, is more or less taken care of. In our modeling is consistent with what they've requested there. Third, adequate pre-treatment is required for infiltrating BMPs to achieve the listed credit percentages of TSS removal. Please, I'll just paraphrase. We're going to dig into this in depth with the peer review process, who is reviewing the same thing for the town of Lunenburg. Matter of fact, the town of Lunenburg's TSS standard is higher than that's required of the state. So this is effectively going to be resolved through the planning board peer review process. We've proposed pre-treatment on all infiltration BMPs, so I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to dig into this comment a little bit deeper. Perhaps there's one or something that needs to be clarified, but we've designed it that way. I'll stop. I see a hand raised.
Mary, you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. When was the property brought out of forestry program?
I don't know, Mary. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I'm not sure.
Okay. I don't recall seeing a request on this property since I've been on the commission, which is why I was asking.
Yeah, I don't
Thank you.
know. It wasn't sort of in my on my radar screen, if you will.
Teddy, you have your hand up?
Thank you, Madam Chair. These infiltration basins that are highlighted, do those exist already, or are those going to be dug out?
Those would be constructed. Yeah, there's no stormwater constructed on the site. And I don't know if I don't know. I'm not an expert at forest management plans, but I don't think you do stormwater management for forest cutting plans. But I could be wrong.
I didn't know if it was like the actual slope of the area.
No, they'll be constructed. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Teddy. Richard, do you have your hand up?
Yeah. Hey, Greg, how's it going?
Good, Rich.
Super. Hey, I got a quick question. How has the fact that this property is in the Squanesset ACEC changed any of your planning or engineering?
So I don't think that would really come into play. That's an area of critical environmental concern. I don't think that would come into play unless we were proposing to fill a wetland. It may push us into a critical area for, standard 6, I think. Don't hold me to that. It may give us a little bit more stringent requirements to meet one or two of the stormwater standards. So, rest assured, if that's the case, we've documented compliance with it. And if we haven't, we'll make sure that we do. But I don't believe that really comes into play here, Richard, because really the ACEC influences projects where we might be proposing wetland fills. It would essentially push us into a limited project in those cases. And it would also influence whether the project would require a MIPA filing, but that would only be the case if we had a state permit required. And, we don't have any state permits required in this case. So other than the stormwater management, I don't think it really plays on this one.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Richard.
I'll just finish off the DEP comments if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
They asking for test pits in the stormwater management areas. That's completely and entirely reasonable. So we need to provide that information. And then they asked some clarity on on a sewer force main that we're proposing on lot 3. And does it fall within the buffer zone? I do believe it does fall within the buffer zone, but we'll certainly clarify all these things for you. And then they asked for, those are the let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 comments, and then they asked for us to address them and then reply back to them, which is becoming their standard MO on these things. So, which is fine. Like I said before, this is the first step in the sort of detailed design review. Your commission, but also the planning board will have comments through their board and through peer review. So we expect to be addressing comments here for a bit. So these will certainly be in those first round of comment responses.
Awesome. Great. Thanks for going through all of those questions
You bet.
or comments. Do we have any other questions for members of the commission? Do we have any questions or comments from members of the public? Okay, it does not appear so, and I would be looking to continue. Herlin, you have your hand up. I forgot. I'm not used to having you here.
It's
Um,
okay.
Do you have any questions from our agent?
I do. So I'm just looking for the method of delineation. There was no data sheet attached to this NOI.
Okay. Yep. We'll get that for you, Harlan. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
And
bet.
is that all you had, Herlin?
That's it.
All right, thank you for that. Amazing.
This is
Okay.
a delineation that we did a number of years ago. So I apologize for that. Sometimes those delineation reports are a little bit drop off the wagon, so to speak. So I apologize. We'll get that over to you.
Thank you. Okay, so as far as continuing, I know, the weather is supposed to get better. I don't know that we can't predict that the snow will be entirely melted by the time we do a next site walk. Is
I
there a
think
date
we
that
should-
you?
I think we should push it out a month. I think we should
Okay.
go for April, because we need, I would like to get at least see an initial round of peer review comments from planning board. Not that it's going to overlap with the purview of your commission. And so to the extent that we're doing plan revisions for them, I'd like to see what that is before I come back to you, I think. So I would think 4 weeks from now would probably be adequate to get that initial round.
Okay, so that would be April 1st,
I think so, yeah.
Tuesday. Okay.
April 1st, great. No, I don't know if that's good. Yeah, that's fine. I think that would be fine.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion to continue to April 1st, 2026 meeting?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
All right. Teddy with the motion and Mary with the second. Roll call vote. Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Richard Birsch,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
and I for myself. All right. That is.
Thank you very much.
Continue.
We'll see you later on.
All right, thank you. Okay, so up next, pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, we have a request for determination of applicability by Patrick Byrne for the replacement of an existing deck and stairs at 1010 Flat Hill Road, RDA-26-1. Do we have the applicant or the representative on the call?
Probably me.
Okay, is that so? The David Pictor, you are representing 1010
Yes.
Flat Hill Road? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So like I said, we didn't do any site walks this weekend. So we are flying blind as far as that goes. And Herlin?
I
Did you
was
do-
on site
Oh, awesome.
and I met David, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. All
I'm
right.
at-
So do you have anything you'd like to share with us, David?
Yes, I
Or-
do, but I don't
okay.
know if Herlin, it makes sense. If you would like to go first, feel free.
If you want to just explain what you are planning to do, and then I can just add on to what I saw during the site visit, that would be great.
Sure. Yeah, sounds good. No problem. So I'll just jump on in here. My name is David Pichter. I'm here for an RDA because my wife and I bought our first home together and moved to Lunenburg in 2024, and we would like to make some updates to the house before our firstborn arrives in May. And one of those updates is to our back deck. So if I can do a screen share, I'd love to show a couple things.
Please do.
Awesome. All right. I do have, and I believe you should have a copy of this as well. The abutters list who have been notified, as well as the building permit plan and plot plans. So I'm not sure if you would like to look at that stuff first or look at more specific photos.
Let's look at the plan of what you're planning to do.
Yes, great. So this is, I can zoom in here. How does this look?
Oh, I can see it.
Great. All right, so the street is here. This is our home. The deck is on the back side of the house and it is about 45 feet away from the Catacounamug Brook behind it. The existing deck has reached the end of its lifespan and needs to be replaced for some safety reasons. This deck is the only means of egress for the back side of the house. The footprint is remaining the same, aside from moving the location of the stairs 4 feet in a direction further away from the conservation area, so east, if you're looking at this diagram here. For construction details, we will not be using any heavy machinery or excavating equipment. There will be very minimal concrete poured. It'll be limited to a small amount just under the bottom stair for structural stability and longevity. Otherwise, the remainder of the deck will be supported using helical piles. The materials for the project will be stored in the driveway and brought to the work area as needed. And we will, of course, comply with any requested conditions or requirements necessary, like straw wattle fences along the perimeter of the work zone, etc.
Okay.
And I would like to share some photos, but I don't know why Zoom is only giving me application windows, not like a full screen share option, but
Usually it gives you the option, like in the first window.
yeah, because like if I drag a photo, I'm assuming you're still just gonna see, you still just see the PDF of the plan, right?
Oh yeah, I'm checking. It's actually only giving me application windows too
Interesting.
under screens. I wonder.
Let me see
That's
if I
weird.
can just do like a one pick at a time. It's a little janky, but here's what the deck currently looks like that Herlin site walked last week or week and a half ago, whenever that was. Let me see if I can do another. Thank you everyone for your patience. Thank you,
Take your
Madam
time.
Chair, for confirming that's not just me who's struggling with
It's-
Zoom. So this is an example of like from safety perspective, some of the rotting stringers.
Oh yeah.
A lot of the covers and casings. The previous deck was Gen 1 Trex, so it's a lot of it is bowing and splitting. So this is some of the
Oh, yeah.
sheets that are split apart, and then this is some of the railing bowing pretty significantly, and you can see there's
Oh
some
wow.
growth starting to happen as well. And last one that might be interesting, the previous, whoever did the construction on this previously was a little trigger happy with some of the nail gun application. So it was clearly not super well constructed here. So
Okay.
yeah, so looking to
Very
get
secure.
that taken down and replaced with something a little bit more substantial and long lasting. So that is the plan. And speaking of plan, happy to show any other details for the plot plan and building and permit plan if desired.
Okay. Are you doing the work yourself?
I am not. That will be performed by Deckit.
Okay. Do we have any? Oh, Herlin, do you have any comments? to share on this one since you've been out there?
Sure. So I was on site on February 26th where I met the property owner. There was significant snow on the ground, so I couldn't really see erosion potential or drainage patterns on site. But if you guys recently just saw the picture Mr. Pictor put up, he is basically just closing off where the stairs is and then moving them to the opposite side with, like he said, minimal disturbance to that area. I would advise the commission to follow in a negative determination with conditions. I would like to see all stockpile materials be on the driveway. He has enough room in the driveway where he can put all materials there. He did say he was going to use helical piers, so there's going to be limited impact to the soil and minor ground disturbance at the base of the stairs. And then I just asked for him to give us the square footage of what he's going to use at the base. He said it was concrete, and I wasn't sure if the commission would be open or he would be open to something more impervious or if that's the best suited material to use for that area.
Okay, so when you say the square footage of what he's using at the base, you mean the base underneath the deck or at the base of the stairs where
The
you were going to do
stairs,
the
because
concrete?
yep, so he's using helical piers, so there's not a foundation base poured. For the posts, there are these like screws that kind of go into the ground. So he did say he will be putting some sort of base at the bottom of the steps, like a landing for the
Yes.
stairs.
Yeah.
And it was just
Sure.
if we could get the approximate size of that.
Yeah, it'll be
Okay.
about 4 feet 3 inches wide, 4 inches deep into the ground, and about 6 or 8 inches deep or wide length. So 4 foot by 3 by about 8 inches and 4 inches into the ground is the concrete base that will be at the bottom of the final stair on that staircase. And I have a bit of a visual here, actually, that might be helpful too, to visualize what we're talking about, just so we're all on the same page here.
Awesome.
So it would be, I tried to zoom, sorry. You can see it here in the visualization right at the bottom of the staircase. So it's not like it runs the full width
Yeah.
of the whole stairs, it's just the bottom stair.
Okay. Okay, do we have any questions for members of the commission? Do we have any questions from members of the public? Oh, Harlan, you raised your hand.
Sorry, me again. I also forgot to add that if the commission could also add what to the condition, some erosion controls.
And I think David, you did mention that that you would, I think you said something about straw wattles or
Yeah.
some sort of erosion control.
Yep, yeah, we are prepared to do a straw wattle fence along the perimeter of the work zone if desired.
Okay. And that would be desired for sure. Richard, you have your hand up.
Yep, that was going to be my comment, was staked wattles at either the 30-foot boundary or at the limit of work, whichever is closer to the house.
Okay. Just taking notes. Okay, so do we have any other questions for members of the commission? Okay. We could be looking for oh, Richard, you have your hand up.
Yep, yeah, and looking at the picture, I do see a stump. Are there any other trees that are going to be taken down to get this new deck in, David?
There should not be any at all. Now, we may or may not lose one small rhododendron, which will be kind of heartbreaking, but I'm hoping that they can leave that alone.
Okay, so one of the rhododendrons may or may not go.
But it's
no
more
other
of a bush than a tree. It's not like a substantial hardwood established or anything. It's pretty small.
Okay, yeah, the picture depicts it pretty well. So,
Mhm.
nope, those are my only other questions as far as the vegetation and the request for the erosion protection staked in. That would be great. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Yeah. Okay, is that anything else from the commission? Okay, so you're looking for a motion for a negative determination with the conditions that we stockpile materials in the driveway. You did get the square footage of the stone, the concrete at the bottom of the stairs, as long as we stay within that size, and then add erosion control, staked wattles at the limit of work or 30 foot, whichever is closer to the house. Am I missing anything? Okay. Does not seem like I am. Do we have a motion for a negative determination?
So moved?
Second.
Is that you? Is that you with the motion, Mike?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And Teddy with the second?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call vote. Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
and I for myself. All right, so that is a motion for a negative determination, with the conditions that we set forth. So thank you so much for your presentation.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right, up next, we have a pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws. A request for determination of applicability by Lunenburg Solar One LLC, care of New Leaf Energy for the installation of a battery energy storage system at 475 Leominster Shirley Road, RDA 26-2. Do we have the applicant or their representative on the call? Is that-
Good evening, Brandon Smith, New Leaf Energy.
Okay, great. Do you have any materials that you would like to share with us?
I do, and if the chair would allow, I will share my screen here.
Please do.
All right, can you see my screen there?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so yes, again, my name is Brandon Smith. I'm with New Leaf Energy here in front of the commission tonight, related to a rooftop solar and associated battery energy storage project proposed for a parcel north of Leominster Shirley Road, owned by BP Lunenburg Central. Some of you that have been on the commission for a few years may be familiar with this site. This was recently developed. There's a large warehouse on the site, which is obviously where the rooftop solar is going to be placed. Just to give the commission a bit of history on the parcel, during that development of that warehouse of the parcel, an ORAD was approved on this parcel, as well as an NOI for the work done. You can see on this plan here, during that ORAD, there were a few areas of wetland delineated here, and across the street on Leominster Shirley Road. I'll switch over to the proposed work that I'm here for. So here is a plan depicting the rooftop solar, obviously on the warehouse here. There's associated equipment pad located in the parking lot in the back, and connecting those two is underground electrical trenches. All this work, none of this work, will be within any of the 100-foot buffer zones of those wetlands. But if you see here is electrical trench running south to an interconnection area, which will consist of a series of utility poles. I'll switch over to another plan here. Sorry. I'm going to just zoom in. So this is the plan depicting that kind of southwest corner of the parcel. And here are these utility poles that are required to interconnect the project at the distribution grid which is the distribution lines run south of Leominster Shirley Road. So there is, as I mentioned earlier, during that ANRAD process a few years back, a wetland was delineated south of Leominster Shirley Road. And the last pole in our interconnection pole series will be within that 100-foot buffer. So because of that, we've submitted this RDA. The work consisting here, just to give you a little bit more information. So this is an existing access or driveway. The poles will be along that in a landscaped kind of grassy lawn area. This is all overhead. This small section, which is partially in the 100-foot buffer, will be trenched because there's an existing electrical overhead line running kind of parallel to the road. So that'll be underground, a short section of trench rising up to this last pole here, and then connected to the existing pole that's south of Leominster Shirley Road. So that's an existing pole. Unitil may or may not just need to replace that. But that is, as I mentioned, right, if that is replaced, it would be just replaced in kind. So that's the kind of extent of the work that we're doing within the jurisdictional area of the commission. I guess a bit of context around other permitting with this project. We've been in touch with the planning board, fire department. This project, or rooftop solar and accessory battery storage projects, are by right. So we will be submitting for a building permit later this year with the building department. So I think with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. And we would ask that the commission, what we're looking for tonight, it would be a negative determination that an NOI would not be required for this minimal work in the buffer, provided, of course, that we will be implementing the construction controls and appropriate erosion and sediment controls during construction. So I'll leave it at that, and I'm happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Thank you. Herlin, you were out at the site and I see you have some notes in your meeting materials. Do you have anything that you would like to add right now?
Just the same thing as my notes. It was also the snow cover on this area was hard, but when I went on site, I think the application was a little misleading because I thought that before looking at the site plan, it sounds like the whole solar proposal is in the buffer. It's one utility pole and then some trenching. That was about, I think we calculated like 4 to 6 feet of trenching, approximately. So when I went on site, this is a whole lot of impervious area already. And then there's a street that's adjacent to this. It's 2 lanes. So it's minimal work compared to what's already done there. So my recommendation for the commission was, still erosion control, but Unitil is pretty good about this stuff. So I'm not sure what conditions have been placed to work that's been done by Unitil in the past. And as long as no other areas are disturbed, so that if anything does come up, they notify the commission or myself, the agent, if things change as they go along.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions for members of the commission? Richard, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Brandon, so when you guys are you going overhead from your property across the street? You're not going under the road?
That is correct. The only underground is, as Herlin mentioned, it's just this kind of to get underneath this existing overhead. So it's a very small section of underground, and then everything else is overhead to the actual distribution grid.
Okay, so it's going to be underground from pole number 1 to pole number 2.
Correct. Exactly.
And are you boring, or are you going to hand dig or machine dig that trench?
That would likely be machine dug in that area because the line is overhead. Parts of it may be hand dug depending on the proximity to that overhead wire.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. That answers my questions.
Okay, thanks, Richard. Do we have any other questions from members of the commission? Do we have any questions from or comments from members of the public? Okay, I think that based on the recommendation of our conservation agent and what's been presented, I'd be looking for a motion for a negative determination. With the condition that there be erosion controls placed where the work is being done.
So moved. Mike?
Okay, thank you,
Second.
Mike. Is that Mary?
Yes.
Okay, okay, roll call vote, Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
and I for myself. Well, negative determination.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate the time tonight. Have a good evening.
You too, thanks.
Thanks.
Welcome, Brandon.
All right, moving on to continued public hearings. Pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, we have a continued public hearing at 30 Summer Street. Notice of intent by Safe Store Estate Company, the real estate company. They have asked to continue to 3/18. Can I have a motion to continue to March 18th, 2026?
So moved, Richard.
Second.
Everybody.
Give it to Mary. All
Give it to
right,
Mary.
Richard with the motion and Mary with the second. Roll call vote, Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
and I for myself. Okay, continue to March 18th, 2026. Up next, pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, we have a notice of intent by the Town of Lunenburg at 763 Northville Road for the replacement of a deteriorated culvert. Do we have the applicant or their, Herlin, you have your hand raised?
Yes, they have asked to be continued to following meeting. Hold on, I
Okay.
just want to make sure that
So-
I got this correct. Bear with me.
3/18?
3/18.
Okay. Do I have a motion to continue to 3/18, 2026?
So moved.
Richard.
Second,
Second.
Mary.
I'm gonna give Richard the motion and Mary the second. Okay, roll call vote. Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Andrea Burnett,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
and I for myself. All right, up next we have pursuant to MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, as amended in the Town of Lunenburg Wetlands Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a notice of intent, 27 Fire Road 15A by Steve Bean for a project that involves the demolition of an existing cottage and construction of a replacement house and deck on the property. And we have Greg Roy on the call.
Thank you. Greg Roy, Dilson Roy, representing the applicant. We were here 2 weeks ago, and we received, I think what I can describe as loud and clear feedback that the commission was really not willing to entertain a waiver to construct any more building within, square footage within the 50-foot no structure zone than what is already existing, pre-existing today. So we took that back to the client and sort of hit the drawing board again. and we came up with a different configuration for you. So if I could share my screen again, Madam Chair.
Please do.
All right. Excuse me. Okay, how's that? Everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So again, I not to beat a dead horse here, but in red, the red outline here is the limit of the existing cottage. And what we've done is pulled all of the proposed work that we had previously proposed, particularly in, let me highlight again. We had a bump out in this area proposed 2 weeks ago. We've now removed that and reconfigured the house so that in all cases we've pulled the proposed foundation and dwelling back away from the lake relative to the red existing location. So in all cases we're further away from the lake. There's a small triangle right in this location here that's actually within the 50-foot no build zone, but is not currently structured today. So all of the area that you see sort of between the red, all of this white space between the red and the proposed, that's equal, believe it or not, equal to that triangle. So the net result is we've reduced, essentially kept the footprint of the existing building the exact same within the 50-foot buffer zone or within the 50-foot wetland offset. And it results in a greater increase in actually a better situation in that we're actually pulling the proposed structure back a few feet further away from the lake than what it currently exists today. So, and to offset that lack of square footage, the applicant has restructured the backside of the house so that in this location here, we essentially added a bump out over here. So all of that now will be proposed structure, and all of that is located outside of the 50-foot no structure zone. So effectively, we've revised the plan to make sure that we have no more square footage of proposed structure than what's there currently. It matches within a square foot. I think we reduced it by 1 square foot. And at all points, we've pulled it further back away from the lake. So you can see this black line with the hatch is further away from Lake Shirley than the red line. So we're going to remove the building, pull it back a foot or two in all cases. And then the additional square footage that the applicant is proposing to put on the house is outside of the 50-foot no structure zone, which of course is allowed by your bylaw. We've kept the deck configuration pretty similar to what we had shown before, except that now instead of coming down the side of the structure, it's just confined to an area over the existing concrete patio right in that location. So again, that's a deck that's proposed over an existing concrete patio. So it's not a new impervious structure, so to speak. I think that's it. I think that's where I want to leave it. Happy to take any questions or comments.
Thank you. I'm wondering, so where the concrete pad is that going to stay concrete now in between?
Yeah. So working with the applicant, we had proposed some mitigation to try and offset the additional square footage that we're proposing in the 50-foot zone. So, sort of horse trading, so to speak, like we've done in the past. So, now that we've walked back and we're essentially not proposing any additional work and actually pulling it back a little bit further from the lake, The applicant just decided just to keep the concrete patio intact, and just roll with it as is.
Okay. Do we have any questions from members of the commission? Teddy, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, Greg, when the previous project was proposed, there was also blueberry bush plantings in the project. Were those taken out as well because we're no
We did,
longer
yeah.
in the okay.
We did, yeah. So again, we tried to put together a package to the commission. You know, when we're asking you for a waiver, we don't take that lightly. So when I would never come before the commission without providing some level of mitigation to offset the waiver request that we're asking you. So now that we've walked back and we're just proposing essentially a reconstruction, you know, in the 50-foot of what's there today. We're expanding it outside the 50 for sure, but you know, that's allowed by your bylaw. You know, the applicant really lost interest in the you know, the restoration plantings that we were proposing to offset the mitigation, you know, to offset the additional square footage that we were proposing.
Understood. That's all I had. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thanks, Teddy. Richard, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Greg, so there's no additional or new construction in the 50-foot?
That's correct. That's correct, Rich. We heard loud and clear that we measured the square footage of the building area within the 50-foot, and we made sure that the proposed square footage in the 50-foot is I think it's 1 square foot less than what's there today. So it's essentially the same.
Okay. And how much, so as you go into the hillside, I see the red dot, that was the existing cottage, and the new
Yes.
cottage goes further off into the 50 and the 100-foot.
That's correct.
Yeah. How much grading are we doing in there? I mean, we're at 3.
Yep.
The slab's at 307, and we're cutting into 318 at the back wall.
Yep. So we're putting a retaining wall. We're proposing a retaining wall in the back here, which is shown in this gray rectangular patch here. So we're actually proposing a 12-foot pour here on the concrete, Rich. So the slab will be at the 307 elevation, which is really selected based on the elevation, the existing elevations down in this location, so that we don't have to really alter the grades on the downhill side of the property. And then we're going to put a large 12-foot pour on the back side. But even with that, we're going to require a retaining wall here to make the grade work between the top of foundation elevation and the exit Fire Road 15A, which is essentially the driveway for the property. So there's quite a bit of grading that needs to happen there, Rich, to excavate the foundation, just particularly as you get up into the hill. But like we've done a non-standard foundation wall pour there with it's going to be a double pour for sure, to get those grades so that they're reasonable relative to particularly relative to the needing to match. We can't touch anything on the Fire Road 15 or the driveway, so we needed to come to an area where we didn't have a ridiculously high retaining wall proposed. So that answer your question?
Yeah, so the retaining wall is going to be at 319, and the back of the wall is going to be at 318, and the fire road's at 325. Am I looking at that right? No, top of wall is 325.
Yeah, so this corner right here, let me highlight so everybody can see this. This corner right here is the worst case. We have the bottom of wall at 318 and the top of wall at 325. In this case here, it's sort of the grades slope down as you go this way. So in this case, it's only about a 3 or 4 foot wall, well, 3, and then we bleed out to nothing. And same thing over here. The wall will get less and less as you get down to nothing in that location there. So we have a 7 foot wall height here. It goes down to 0 in this location, 3 feet here, and then 0 over there. And that top of wall will match existing grades at the top, and then we'll have to excavate it down to accommodate the grades to make sure we have drainage away from the foundation.
Okay. And
But
it looks
as you
like
get around it, sorry, Rich, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nope, and it looks like the tail of the wall is in the 50-foot no structure.
It is. If that's a problem, well, I'm sure we could work our way around that.
Okay. Well,
So
yeah.
essentially what we're trying to do is,
no structure. Yep.
yeah, we could pull that out, Rich. The essentially what we're trying to do is minimize grading that needs to happen in this location here. So essentially we'll be existing grades up to this point. Then we'll have some, at about the 50. Yes, we're proposing about a couple feet into the 50 here with the retaining wall, which we could modify if needed. The significant grading happens in this location here, all in the back. That needs to drop considerably, which is why we need that retaining wall to make sure that we can maintain existing grades adjacent to the road. So if the commission has a problem with the retaining wall on the 50 foot, we can certainly we can shorten that and just catch it with grading.
Does that answer all your questions, Rich?
Yeah, and I'm just looking the septic pipe that's not gravity, that's a pressure line that you're moving back on the back side of the wall.
No, I think it's gravity, Rich. Yeah, I think it's gravity. Okay. We worked out the grades. It's the good news is there's a lot of grades to work with on the site. So I think that we don't have an issue with getting gravity, even though we have to lengthen that line. So I don't think we have an issue with that. It all flows, that line flows into this manhole, which flows down to a centralized tank, which comes into the leaching field over in this location there. So it's all gravity as far as I know.
Okay, and the pit is existing. It looks like it because you're abandoning a line to it now from the
That's correct.
cottage one.
That's correct, Rich. Yep.
All right, that answers my questions for right now, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thanks, Rich. Mary, you have your hand up and you've been very patient.
Yes, thank you. Well, it was easy to be patient when Rich is asking all my questions.
Yes.
But I did have one remaining question, though. We're doing a lot of grading there. Where will the stockpiles of material be?
Yeah,
located?
I knew you were going to ask that question. I think they're going to have to put it in a. There's not a lot of room to yard material here. So I think they're going to have to put it I think they have to truck it off site. I think they're going to have to stage a. Why am I drawing a blank? Dump truck, and haul it. I don't think there's going to be a lot of room for stockpiling here.
Okay. It seemed like there was a little bit of space, and a little bit also flatter between the the house where they currently reside and the garage, if it was going downhill or
down here. But if they got to put it there, they're going to have to truck it anyway. I just there's going to be a net export of material here because we're excavating a new foundation. So I think that that's going to be excavated and put directly into a dump truck and trucked off site. There'll obviously be some over excavation. So I think you're going to see, some, on the edges of the excavation for the foundation, you're going to see a little extra material so that when the forms are stripped, they can push that material back in and make the grades work. But I don't think we're going to have a significant stockpile here like you'd see in a more typical site where you'd be excavating the material out and just dropping it over there. I think they're going to have to truck that stuff off site. There's just no place to put it.
Okay. Then I think maybe in the NOI conditions, we say that there are no stockpiles located on site.
Yeah, I think that's
Or
reasonable.
you could add it to the notes. I mean, but if we add it to the conditions, we don't have to wait for you to add it to the notes.
I think that's reasonable if you put it on a condition, in a condition. Yeah. Like I said, I think there'll be modest, extra soil around the excavation, but I don't think we're going to have all of the material excavated out of the foundation hole. It's not going to be stockpiled on site. That's going to have to leave the site.
And then, Greg, do we have you for other hearings tonight, or are you done after this one?
You have me for other hearings tonight. Yeah, you're stuck with me
Okay.
for a couple others. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I did have a question that I want to ask you that's not related to this hearing. So I just wanted to make certain if I needed to, give a heads up to the chair right after this one that I was in a position to do that.
I'm sticking
Thank you.
on. Yeah, I'll be with you
All
for
right.
at least through the administrative matters. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you. No
All
more
right.
questions from you, Madam Chair.
Thanks, Mary. Okay, so as far as the retaining wall goes, I wanted to do a quick see what the commission is thinking about moving the retaining wall outside of the 50-foot no build. Do I have any comments on that? Teddy, you have your hand up.
Does that require the same waiver that would have been required for the previous plan?
Technically, yes, right? Or
Well, it depends
Greg,
on
you
what you
shake your
consider.
head.
Well, it depends on what you consider a structure, I guess. I don't know. I mean,
It's not
that
been our
retaining-
practice.
I don't know that you've considered retaining wall structures. But
And it's not been our rightly or wrongly, it's not been our practice for a minor subjective thing like that. Just as a point of reference, Jenny.
Okay, so historically, retaining walls have been okay going into the no build on a case by case basis.
I don't know if I would go that far, but I would say something that's it looks like maybe a like a 3 or 4 foot incursion. We would not have flagged that. At
Okay.
least, not since Rich has been around for a little bit of time, even though he's a very young man. He can give us better guidance about that.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a case by case. I mean, in looking at it, it's a pretty substantial wall, and it does definitely intrude into the no structure zone. And Greg did comment that he could certainly move it out if we requested to.
Okay.
So,
And what
I mean,
what do you think
technically,
about
you
that,
should be
Richard?
asking. Myself, I would ask for him to move it out if he
Okay.
can, and where he said he could move it out. I mean, we do want to try to mitigate and minimize any disturbance in that 50-foot. No, I'm not sure what the height of the wall or the depth of the wall is going to be, but I imagine it's a 4-foot wall from top to bottom at a minimum. Is that correct, Greg?
at that point, Rich, it would be it would probably be 2 feet maximum where it's in the buffer, where it's in the 50-foot. But be that as it
Especially
may.
where it's a structural wall. Yeah. I mean, that would be my suggestion, but I'm just.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have it's honestly a little bit of an oversight on our part. I think if we were pulling up belt and suspenders, we would have pulled that out for you. I apologize for that. But, we can certainly pull that out and great. It's not, I don't see any issues with that. It's just going to take a little bit more grading there, but no problem.
Mary, you have your hand up.
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I might ask through you to Rich, the matter of whether a waiver would be required if the body of the Conservation Commission allowed that wall to be there. What's Rich's experience with that?
Myself,
formality?
I would say yes, because it is a structural wall, and it clearly does protrude into the 50-foot no structure, no build zone.
Okay,
Yeah, we'll
thank you.
pull it out. We're happy to, I would hope that the commission would accept just, if you're so inclined to, just require that we resubmit a plan as a condition. I don't think that's a huge change. Just verify it. So we don't have to come back and waste your time in another 2 weeks.
Okay.
But I don't see it as a problem at all.
All right. Do we have any other questions from members of the commission? Harlan, Harlan, you raised your hand. You read my mind.
Sorry, I was just gonna provide clarification so that under the Wetlands Protection Act, any structure, erection, or combination of materials, including but not limited to buildings, walls, foundations, and dams, are all considered a structure.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you
just
so
don't know
much.
if I don't know if your bylaw defines it that way. To be fair, but that's fine. I'm not contesting it. We'll pull it out.
Okay. Do we have any other questions from members of the commission or members of the public? All right. Well, I want to say thank you. I think that this is a good plan from my perspective, Greg.
No, we appreciate it. I know it's a long time coming, so we appreciate your patience.
Yeah, I appreciate you and the applicant working with us to get us to a place that is amenable for both sides.
Yep.
So I'd be looking for okay, so I'd be looking for, if it were myself, a motion to approve with the conditions that the stockpiles be trucked off site and not located within the buffer zone. Also, as far as the retaining wall moving back, we wouldn't put that on as a condition. We would just ask for Greg to update those plans, and then Harlan could take a look at them. I think the only condition we're looking for is that the stockpiles not be located on site.
Yeah, you could condition that the plan be revised to such that the retaining wall be pulled out of the 50, and
Okay.
that be verified to the satisfaction of your administrative of Harlan, of whatever
Okay.
the title is. If you wanted, we'd be fine with that condition.
All right, I like that verbiage. Thanks, Greg. Okay, so I think I'd be looking for a motion to approve with the stockpiles being trucked off site and that the plan be revised with the wall pulled back outside of the 50-foot buffer with our conservation agent to approve that. Do I have a motion?
So
I think
moved.
Mike just tried to. Yeah.
Oh,
Do
so
I have
moved. Sorry, I was on mute, but
All right, wait, so I got Mary with the motion, I think, or Mike, were you trying to motion first?
yes, but I was muted. So
I'll
my second.
I'll give a second.
All right. All right, so roll call vote. Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Richard Bursch. You're muted.
Sorry about that. Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Andrea Burnap,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
and I for myself. All right, thanks for
Thank
getting through
you,
that with
everybody.
us, Greg.
No,
All right.
we appreciate it. Thanks for your patience on this one. Appreciate it.
All right, so up next, we are moving on to administrative determinations. We have a request for an amended order of conditions at 50 Pine Grove Road. Do we have the applicant or a representative?
That's me as well.
Okay. Spending the whole night with us.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think so. Okay, could I share my screen
Please do.
again? Sorry, just for the formality of it. Again, Greg Roy with Dillison Roy. I'm representing the applicant this evening. And I'll apologize in advance on this one. I'm filling in on this one, so I'll do the best I can here. But since I was going to be on for several other meetings, I told the people that prepared this plan that I would just cover it. So I think that Ryan Proctor submitted a letter in cover to this this proposed amended change, and we're really looking to do two primary things. The first is that there are 5 trees that are circled in. Can you all see the plan? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. There are 5 trees shown in circled in red that are either on their way out, dead or dying, or are stumps. So have already died. And so we're looking to remove those as part of this work. And then I think that the original filing really focused on the reconstruction of the house and work up to the first terrace, so to speak, which incidentally is roughly at the limit of the 30-foot no disturb zone. The applicant would like to formalize the walkway down to the water. If you remember, pretty close to this site, a few years back, we did a project. I think it might have been 37 Pine Grove for Chris Oldham, and it proposed a naturalized landscaping treatment to get a walking path and a modest patio area. Not really a patio area, so to speak, because we're using some natural stones. But the spirit of this amendment and the work sort of within the 30-foot, and I'm going to circle it here, sort of all this work that we're proposing with the stones right here is really in the spirit of that filing, if those of you that were on the commission can remember that. So we're proposing all natural stone, wide gaps, if you will. So, flat stones that would be placed for the walking and patio areas. This plan is a 10 scale plan, so we're really not talking about a huge area here. It looks bigger than I think it is. It's a pretty small area. And then these hatched in stones would be that natural stones that would be placed to sort of contain the grade, if you will. And then we do propose in a few areas where it's a little steeper, we propose some granite steps. So again, natural stone. There's no artificial surfaces proposed here. And then, a walking stone path as you come down to the water, just to provide access to the water. I don't have the letter in front of me, so correct me if I'm missing something, but I think those are the 2 significant requests that are being made at this time. And I think that's all I had. I'll do my best to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Okay. Do we have any questions from members of the commission? Okay, you have your hand up.
I don't think I do.
Oh, Richard, it's you. Sorry, the way that it's showing on my screen is
Did we have any trees taken out in a planting replacement plan for the creation of the patio, Greg?
There are no. So all this patio is new in this amended order. There were some trees as part of I should have opened that plan. I'm sorry. There were some trees that we proposed to take down up in this area. I think there was 4 or 5 of them up in there that you approved as part of the initial order of conditions. But other than the 2 trees, other than the 2 trees that we're showing here in circled in red, Rich, this one's a stump. This one, it's not labeled, but I guess it's a 14-inch hemlock, which is dead. We're not proposing. So there's a 14-inch pine right here that's going to stay. There's a 16-inch pine here that'll stay. This is a 16-inch pine that will stay. This is a 14-inch pine that would stay, 8-inch pine, all these other green trees. We're not proposing any changes to. They're all healthy trees. So it's really just the dead or dying trees that we're proposing to take out as part of this work.
All right. And do you have any replacements for the trees that you're taking out?
There are not any shown on the plan. So
Okay.
we can certainly do that if that's what the commission would like.
Okay. Yeah, I know we do have a schedule for putting plants back in when they come out. And I just happen to be looking at the 2023 aerial. And it does look like it was a fairly well-treed area, but if we're taking a bunch of them out, we may want to try to get a few back in so that we've got some understory coming up. Because I would imagine if the 16 and 18-foot pine and oak and, sooner rather than later, they'll be looking to take some of those out, most likely for either disease, dying, or safety to the house.
Okay. Yeah, we can apply the formula there for that. Yep.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Richard. Mary, you have your hand up.
Yeah, do we have any photos of the dying trees, and was our administrator able to go on site?
I don't have any photos. I apologize.
I have some photos. I was actually just looking for that, Mary. There's photos in the other application of some trees that are marked, and then looks like Herlin has her hand up, so she may have some too.
Okay.
Herlin, you have your hand up?
Yes, I'm sorry. So I have pictures on my phone. I'm trying to get them. So I was on site, but I don't have pictures of the actual trees. I have pictures from the front yard. I was on site with the new property owner on November 3rd. He had called and asked if I could meet him on site before he went forward and presented this to an engineer in the area. He was asking for recommendations on what he should do. I did see some hemlocks in the area that had some heartwood decay, like frost crack. And there's a lot of bittersweet in that area, so I think they were being drowned out by the bittersweet too. I think that was the case from the original trees too that were on site. The previous property owner, I believe, requested some tree removal as well, and that was part of their order of conditions. I can send these pictures over via email now to you, Mary, so that you can see them. Or actually, let me see if I can get the link to the previous site walk that I did. So just bear with me one moment. I might put the link in the chat. But yes, I was on site in November with the current property owner and we discussed the trees. I do think that aside from the replication of the trees, I think there is added shrubbery to the area. So maybe some native plantings would be suffice too.
I'm trying to open up the previous. We're trying to open up the previous plan that you folks. Yeah. Can you all see that with the X's on it?
Yes.
Yeah. These were the 5 trees that you had approved to come down as part of the initial order of conditions. So they were on the sort of the upper terrace, if you will. And so the trees that we're talking about now are in the lower portion of the site.
Okay, so I am adding the link to the chat, and in here, oh, it says chat disabled. Bear with me.
Do you want me to stop my screen share, Herlin, so you can share, or?
I think she said they were on her phone.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
they're
sorry.
on.
Okay.
So they're so. Oh, I can't. Okay.
I'm gonna take over, Greg, and just share my screen and share some pictures that we have.
Yeah, no problem. I'll stop the share. Yep.
Jenny,
So these are. Sorry.
Sorry.
What were you gonna say, Herlin?
If you go to the NOI 24-6, There are some pictures from my site walk in July where I was there to inspect the erosion, but you can see the trees with the heartwood decay.
Okay,
And
I
you can
did
see
see
the
those.
bittersweet wrapped around the trees.
Let me get rid of the 100 tabs that were opened by OpenGov.
Yeah.
Okay, so not this one. I did have one open. I think it was this one. So is this one of the trees that they're proposing now, or is this one of the older trees?
I think that's one of the older trees.
I think that's one of the old ones. Yeah, none of them are that big, I don't think.
Yeah, so these are behind.
Yeah, upgrading to the
Yeah.
silt fence, yeah.
If you go back to the picture that looks like the very old tree, you can still see the bittersweet wrapped around the tree behind it.
That was this one. Oh, here. Yep. Like right
Well,
here. You can see
well,
some of the trees down toward the shoreline. And a
yeah, so
couple
there's
of
quite a
these
few. Yeah, sorry.
pictures here, you can see a little bit closer to the shoreline too. Oh, is it?
Did they have a date stamp on them, Jenny?
Good.
December. Okay.
The 24 though. So it was a while ago. Those ones were a while ago. I think those are the ones that we were proposing that you approved to take. I think the ones that we're proposing are further down the hill, I believe.
Madam Chair, I agree with Greg on that because you can see where that kind of that shack kind of
Because
storage area was kind of right on the 30, if I
yeah,
recall correctly.
yeah, exactly. And all of the trees we're proposing are small. So there's a 4-inch hemlock that's dead. There's a 6-inch pine that's dead. This one's a little larger, 14-inch hemlock that we have listed as dead. And then we have a 6-inch spruce that's dead. So those are the 4 sort of standing dead trees that we're proposing to take as part of this amendment. And then there's an 18-inch oak stump that we're proposing to remove. So some of those trees in that picture looked a lot bigger than that. I don't think we're.
And they look like they were up gradient from kind of
I
that
think
shack.
I think so. And they were right on the edge of that cleared area, which is where the septic system is, and that was the main reason for taking those trees, is they were too close to the leaching field.
I muted myself somehow. Everyone's just sitting there. Okay.
Dead
I was
air there. Yeah.
asking, when I bought my house, which is only about, I don't know, what, 8 houses down from that house,
Yeah.
I had to tie into the sewer. When the house was being sold, the town required it. Is that
Hmm.
the street? Is that not under the same? I guess it's not your
Um,
application. You're just filling in.
yeah, I don't know the status of that here.
I just thought about it when you mentioned the septic and
Yeah,
taking the
well,
freezer.
so it jogged my memory because so you can see this plan here,
Can you share your screen?
Yeah, the existing, oh, I'm not sharing my screen anymore.
No,
Sorry about
I
that.
took over.
Sorry. So, right in here is where the leaching field is, and it was this tree and this tree and this tree and these two trees, I think, that we proposed to take down. So I don't know that, if, um, every property's different, Jenny. So it's, if you have a failing septic system and you're gonna have trouble replacing it on site and there's sewer available, sometimes that influences the decision. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the deal is with the septic system here, but I remember, I think I was the one representing this before the commission, at least one of the meetings, and I remember that the discussion was that, we needed to take those trees down because of the leaching field.
Okay. So, it sounds like we would, if we were to approve this, we definitely want to see some sort of a replacement plan.
Yeah,
And
that's fair. Yep.
do we have any other questions from members of the commission or comments? Okay. And is there a comment from DEP for this?
I don't think so because it's an amendment. So it's an amended order conditions
Okay, let me just
in
take
this
a
case.
look.
But truthfully, I'm not exactly sure on the status on that, to be quite honest with you.
Okay.
While
Let me
you're
just-
looking that up, would the commission be, I just looking at some of those pictures, we are proposing to take down a few trees, but there's quite a few that are going to remain. And, it's a pretty small area. Would you see a benefit to, instead of putting in replacement trees, to putting in replacement understory shrubs in this case, just because, it might be putting trees in, under mature overstory. I'm not sure. I'm talking out of turn here. Rich, I'm trying to lob a softball at Rich here because he's the expert on this kind of thing. It's just a thought. I don't think we don't object to putting in trees. I just maybe it would make more sense to supplement with shrubs, native shrubs in this case. Just a thought.
Okay, Harlan, you have your hand up.
Yes, it was just a comment that DEP sent in a comment to myself and Ryan Proctor on February 12th in regards to the filing of this amendment. And there's stipulations as to what classifies as an amendment and what requires a new filing. So I don't know if the commission is going to take that into consideration.
Let me, I'll share
Can
my
you
screen.
read it to us, Shirley?
Sure. Let me see if I can find it here.
So I have it up.
Okay.
Let me get all this stuff out of the way. I know you guys don't see it, but I have stuff in the way. Okay, Mass DEP is in receipt of a request to amend an order of conditions. Luna, would like to offer the following information for the commission's consideration. Applicant has requested to amend the order to include the removal of 5 additional trees, a new patio, and boulders, walkways, and plantings located near the lake. Mass DEP recommends that commissioners take into consideration the information outlined in WPP policy, WP policy 85-4, amended orders when evaluating such requests. As outlined, factors to take into consideration include whether a proposed change is minor in scope and if the project will have unchanged or less impact on the interests of the act when determining if an amendment may be appropriate if a new notice of intent would be required. Policy also provides a framework for discussion and procedure. Mass DEP notes that the lake and the site or portion thereof is located within a FEMA Zone AE, which corresponds to bordering lands subject to flooding, which is not shown on the plan. BLSF should be shown on the plan at the FEMA corresponding base flood elevation for the commission to evaluate if work is proposed within this resource area. Should the revised project represent an expansion of the area of alteration from what was previously approved and or new wetland resource area alterations, proposed changes may not be eligible eligible for an amendment per the policy. Please feel free to reach out should you have any questions. Rich, you have your hand up.
Yeah, so a couple quick things. One, to Greg's comment about the trees. At least 3 of them are within very close proximity to the water's edge. So I would certainly like to see some trees replaced in that area to provide the same shade protection moving forward, especially where there were smaller trees starting out, and those are the replacement trees when the larger overstory dies out. I guess I may have been confused or not paying attention. So in the original filing, this patio was not on the filing nor approved. So
That's
this
true.
patio is completely brand new.
It is, yes.
I actually remember when we were out at the site being surprised that there was no request for access to the water.
Yeah, I think they were focused. I think they were focused on just, you know, immediate needs of the house and not at that time. And that was, it wasn't older, it was a different applicant. So the initial order of conditions was issued to the previous owner. The person that has now assumed, you know, bought the property and hence assumed the order of conditions is now looking to make these changes. So it is a different person.
Okay. Richard, you have your hand up again?
Yeah, I guess I'm still looking deep. So we see a little proposed native shrubbery here and there. Myself, I guess if we're putting in a whole new patio within the 30-foot no touch zone and proposing taking trees out, this, in my opinion, may exceed just a change to the note of the certificate of compliance, and probably should at the very least be an RDA, because I do remember bringing that up with Ryan, and Ryan says we'll file for that at a different time. I believe is what he said when we brought it up, that he didn't have anything going down to the waterfront. They were just working on the roadway or the house to start.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my recommendation, is that at a minimum an RDA filing with some better planting plans and how much square footage we're taking out and putting impervious surface back in with the stones and the steps, and treat it as a new project.
That's fine. It's always tricky from our standpoint as consultants when you have a situation like this, because we have an existing order of conditions on the property that's ongoing. And so if we were to file a new order of conditions, you can't really do that without closing out the other one. And you have it gets a little convoluted. So I understand DEP's point. I will go on record saying that I think that they take a pretty, I think that the stance they take on it is a little bit overhanded. Because I think that in certain situations like this one, where you have an active order of conditions, it's currently being worked on in the middle of things that, you know, it seems to make sense to amend that instead of, you know, going through the pain and suffering of doing a new order and closing out the old one midstream when you have some work that's been done and some that hasn't. But be that as it may, I mean, if the commission agrees, I don't know that, I mean, maybe an RDA would be a good compromise there. That's certainly something we can do. We're certainly not looking to sidestep any of your requirements. You know, that's why we're here. You know, I think you can get to the same process. In my opinion, you can get the same process through an amended order of conditions. That's what the process is for, you know, to amend the order of conditions. You know, if you need new conditions or, and you put a new plan on record, you know, we can do that. I don't understand DEP's, you know, concern with it, other than just administrative, but because you get to the same point, you get to a new plan with perhaps new conditions that the commission may need to put in place to make sure the interests of the Wetlands Protection Act and your bylaw are protected. But be that as it may, if the commission would like us to do an RDA, I don't, you know, that is what it is.
Through you, Madam Chair, this does change the project in my eyes more than minimally. I mean, this is not a de minimis change where we are asking for a variance. All of the work is within the 30-foot no-touch zone, right down to the edge of the resource area. And one of the other concerns would be that none of this work that requires a variance was part of the public hearing process. So none of the abutters were notified nor had a chance to see the scope of this project as it would affect the wetlands in the lake. So, I think it's twofold. It's the plan and the process, as well as the public notification and the public's ability to see the project and get any input if wanted on the project. So, thank you very much. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Richard. That's
No,
a really good
Thank
point.
you.
Thank you.
If I may, real quick, I do see that this is under your administrative portion of your agenda. But when we file an amended order of conditions, we're typically looking for the hearing to be reopened. So what this is not a request for is a de minimis field change, an administrative thing, right? So, when we make a request for an amended order of conditions, it's essentially asking you to reopen the public hearing process and make an amendment to the already issued order of conditions through a duly notified hearing process, which I get. It doesn't look like that's the way we did it tonight. So I understand the concern with that. So we don't object to any of that. If that's the way we want to go with it, and we want to do it through an RDA or some other process, that's fine.
Mary, you had your hand up for a long time, and
I was
understand.
just gonna make the point that Rich just made, that the way it's currently presented, there wasn't the public notification, and so if we came to a decision to approve it in some way tonight, we would have circumvented that, and I think that's an important part of the process.
Thank you. Teddy, did you have your hand up briefly?
Erling,
I did not.
Okay.
It's me.
Carlin, you had your hand up.
Rich asked all the questions that I wanted to ask, and then stated that, though yes, this is under administrative, I think that the workflow under OpenGov and our bylaw has amended orders this way, but I do agree that it should be a public hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So it's essentially the distinction we make when we look at these for applicants, for clients. We look at, is it reasonable to expect that the commission could approve the change you're requesting with no modifications to the orders of condition? If that's the case, we ask you for a minor modification, quote unquote, or a field change, effectively. Like, we're looking to replace this tree with this tree or something like that, real minor, where you don't have to modify any part of the recorded order of conditions. In this case, we didn't think that was the case. We thought that it probably would need some amendment or modification or addition to the order of conditions, which is why we asked you for an amended order of conditions. So I don't disagree. It probably needs a public hearing. And if you think that it's not appropriate to do it as to do it through that process per DEP, again, I don't see it. I disagree with DEP's take on it after doing this for 25 years. But be that as it may, because I think that amended order of conditions, if you were to issue it with a duly notified public hearing, gets you to the same point without muddying up the process and screwing up the existing order that's already in progress. But we'll take our marching orders. So maybe the solution would be just to push this out 2 weeks to allow time to duly notify it as a bona fide public hearing, but still keep it under the amended process. Because I do think you're going to need new conditions for this. I think you're going to need to issue some new conditions.
Richard, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, are you requesting a variance, Greg, for the work in the 30-foot no disturb zone?
I think we would have to, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean,
Yeah.
I think absolutely
Personally,
you're going to need new conditions. That's why we asked you for the quote unquote the amended order.
Yep.
So, and I get I understand it wasn't notified, and I am in complete agreement with that problem. That's a problem.
Okay, so, do a quick poll of the commission. I can start with you, Richard. What do you think about this being as a CAOC, but with all of the correct notifications and moving into the proper workflow?
I myself, I would rather see it refiled as an RDA
Okay,
and the plan amended and updated with proper planting scheme and schedule of work, and then we can take and add conditions to our findings through an RDA process.
okay. And you don't think that we could do that if we were to do a CAOC with utilizing the,
Generally, we never have done it through that process. I mean, it's almost a standalone project on its own.
okay, okay.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. That's what we want to do it.
Harlan, did you just briefly have your hand up?
I did. I
Okay.
was I just want to say that if the commission is amicable to seeing this forth as a amendment to the current order of conditions, we can go the route where we can continue this to the end of April, give the applicant enough time to notify abutters, do the correct filing process, pay fees that might be due, update plans, and I think also apply for the waiver, all within that scope of the amended order. And also the commission can go forth and ask what they want now. And that way, when Mr. Roy comes back, he can have all that in place in a proper plan with proper notification. I was just putting that out there as a route that the commission can take.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Harlan. Mary, I'm gonna go to you next. Which way do you lean on this?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So the notification certainly needs to happen. And I think I would be amenable to an amendment since they do have a current order of condition that hasn't been closed out. I think I would be amenable to a amendment and have this proposed because most of the time with projects you do have some type of landscaping work that's done anyway. Yeah, to me it's 6 one, half dozen of another about whether it's a new project. Certainly we see a lot of projects like this that are new projects. We see a lot of projects like this that are part of a house reno. But the notification piece of it, I think is very important. So I could go either way, but I would not be opposed to an amended order of conditions as long as the public notification piece of it happens.
Okay. Teddy, do you have any thoughts on one way or the other?
I liked what Herlin had to say about it.
Okay.
So long as all the abutters are notified and we can tell Greg what we think about it, and then we can reconvene in 2 weeks.
Okay. Andrea, do you have any thoughts one way or the other?
Not really. I kind of don't really understand the different ramifications of each one.
So, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Well, just, because hearing the different opinions, it sounds like 6 of one, half dozen of the other, so I'm not really sure.
So, a CAOC would stay within the current order of conditions. It would be amending the current order of conditions. It would still have to be filed with whatever ends up being approved or not approved. If whatever's approved would still have to be filed with the registry of deeds. An RDA would be outside of the order of conditions. And I've actually never come across this. Can you file an RDA while there's an open order of conditions? Okay.
Yes.
Um,
Nothing for nothing. I don't know that I mean, honestly, I can't remember. I don't think we notify butters for RDAs. So I, maybe we do in Lunenburg. I can't, maybe your bylaw requires it, but state
Yeah,
act
you
does
do
not
under
require.
the bylaw.
Okay,
Under the
then
regulation.
okay, then I retract. Then either way would get us to the same point.
Yeah. I kind of skew toward the CAOC because then it's recorded and I believe I think it's more formal than an RDA, but that's just me. So Richard, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, in hindsight, after some of the comments, and I've had a chance to think a little bit more about this, the amended order of conditions is probably a stronger way to look at this project. And if approved, it will fall under the order of conditions. So there will be a standing plan on file that has to be followed, as well as it will become part of the certificate of compliance, so that the project will have to be approved as designed. Where with an RDA, we don't have to follow any of those processes. So they don't have to submit a formal plan for it. They don't have to file with the Registry of Deeds with our findings. This way here, they do have to file with the Registry of Deeds with our findings, as well as the order of condition, as well as the certificate of compliance. So that is probably a stronger way to go about it, is put it in as a amended order of conditions. And if approved, then it is locked in with the continuing project.
Awesome. Thank you, Richard. Mike, you have your hand up.
Yes, Madam Chair, I concur with what Rich just said, and just wondered, would we still have to have the notification of all the abutters if we decided to continue as a CAOC?
Yes.
Well, yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay.
I think just from a semantic standpoint, I think you need to, you shouldn't continue it. We need to redo it. We need to reopen it.
Redo it. Okay.
Yeah.
We need to
And are we
re-advertise
inviting,
it, and we need to.
by doing that, do we invite a new set of DEP comments, or are we going with their existing comments?
Well, we can refile it back to them, but they've already. I mean, they might give us more comments, but I don't know. I don't know if they will or not.
Jim Hannigan, I see that you have your hand up. I'd love to hear what you have.
Yeah, well, I see that everyone's kind of struggling with this, and I don't want to step on your toes, Greg. So tell me if it's none of my business, I'll stop right now.
I'm always happy for your advice, Bill.
Yeah. So my question is, when you filed the amended order request, did you notify all the abutters and send copies to DEP?
It doesn't sound like it. We sent it to DEP, but it doesn't sound like we notified the abutters, which needed to have happened. Yeah.
Right. So procedurally, and this is, I'm proud of Greg for saying he's been doing it for 25 years, but I've been doing it for 40. So it's like, which doesn't sound good, but procedurally, I think what you need to do, Greg, is withdraw without prejudice, and then refile the amended order of conditions request, notify DEP, notify the abutters, and come back when all that paperwork is in order, because otherwise the commission has taken testimony without notification of the abutters and without public hearing process.
Right. You're exactly right. That's basically what I just said. We can't continue it. We have to redo it here. We have to restart. I think Bill's right.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, so hearing that, this sounds like we should shut it down and not offer any more insight into how anything that we think about the plan, or are we still okay to give?
I think the applicants say they were going to withdraw it.
Yeah. We'll just it's under your administrative. We'll just refile it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like you are withdrawing and we're closing the hearing?
Yeah, I don't even think it's a hearing. It's not a hearing. It's
Okay.
under your administrative bit. It's just sort of,
That's
it's under
right,
your
that's right.
administrative portion of the.
Okay.
So
So,
we were successful in getting some preliminary feedback from your commission this evening on the application once we submit it formally.
okay.
So.
Harlan, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I just also want to take accountability. I think also, Greg, Ryan had filed this, and I don't think that our system, our permitting system, has the proper formats for this. So I will try to fix this for you before you refile so that this doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Okay. Now, fair enough. That no one's passing blame here. It's fine. We get it.
And then a fee was paid for this with the fee, and the fee would remain the same, right? So would we want to waive the fee for the new application or?
I don't think a fee was paid.
Oh, okay, then never mind.
Yeah. So we'll work it through the right channels and get it squared away. Fees
Okay.
and advertisements and notifications of abutters and all.
All right. Yeah, well, thanks so
Thanks
much.
for your input. Appreciate your input on this one. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm going to move on to, this is where the agenda starts to get very small. Well, I guess it's about the same. All right, no extension request permits, no certificates of compliance. We do have a notice of project change at 215 Sunset Ave. And I do see that we have the applicant on the call. It's David Pajari. That's your application, right?
Yeah, I think I'm going to speak to this one too.
Oh, okay,
David is
perfect.
here. Yeah, Greg Roy
Okay.
with Dillson Roy. If I could share my screen.
Absolutely.
So I think this was presented by somebody. Might have been David a couple weeks ago. David, correct me if I'm wrong. I got the briefing here from Ryan Proctor this afternoon. But essentially the power company wants to put a new pole in this location here for the purposes of extending the power connection up into the site, which is shown here in hatch line, in the hashed trench line. That was not shown on the previous plan, but is completely contained within the limit of the previously approved limit of work. And I think that was the concern last time of the commission, just to make sure that we showed it on a plan and that was indeed within the previously permitted limit of work. So essentially, it would be placing a new utility pole and then trenching, I think, an underground service up the hill into the site. Again, in a location that's already proposed to be disturbed with grading. And I think that's all. And so this one does clearly fall into the category of a minor change, sort of field change, unlike the last application. That's it.
Do we have any questions from members of the commission? Okay, I know that this is exactly what we were looking for. So on this, would we need a motion to approve for a project change? All right.
So
I
moved.
would be, all right,
Second,
roll call vote, Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Andrea Burnap,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
aye.
and I for myself. Okay, approved. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
before Greg goes, I did have a question for him through you on the one of the enforcements.
Okay. So go ahead.
I think at one point in time, your services have been retained for a client for 10 Mass Ave. Do you recall that, Greg?
I do.
that-
It wasn't
is
me
that-
working on that. It was Frank. Yeah.
Is that still current? Do you know?
I have not heard about anything about that project in quite some time, Mary. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
But I will certainly check.
Okay.
Check in on it in the morning.
Yeah, if you would check on it, if Hurling could follow up with you on that, just to check, that'd be nice.
Yeah, Herlin, if you want to send an email to Frank and me, it's fine, but Frank is the one that's been working on that one. So just to kind of rattle the chain there. I apologize. I'm really not sure what the status is on that one. I haven't been directly involved in it.
Well, I just mostly wanted to verify that I was remembering it correctly. That
We were,
yeah, that
I
I
do
thought.
remember because I do remember because I think there was a meeting when Frank advised me that we had been retained, and I reported that to your commission. But I haven't heard anything in quite some time on that job, so I'll have to check it out with Frank.
Fair enough. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you, Mary. Okay. Up next, we have enforcement actions. So, Herlin, do you have any updates that you want to give on any of the violations? I know in your meeting materials, it looks like you did get a response from 715 Reservoir Road and you're waiting to schedule a meeting. Has anything else happened with that?
No, so I'm gonna send them a letter. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to connect with them, so I'm gonna send them another notice. But I did reach out to DEP about 1168 Mass Ave. We have been trying to contact that property owner, and they refuse a certified mail. So I spoke to my circuit writer, Emily Petro, and she is connecting with Kim Roth from DEP, and they will be on site shortly.
Okay, great. And then 1140, oh, Mary, you have your hand up.
1168, I think, has an active open building permit for accessory building.
Yes, they do. I spoke to our chair this morning in regards to that building permit, and we are going to try to see if maybe the building commissioner could help us talk to the applicant about what's happening on site.
Thank you for the update.
Great. 1147 Mass Ave it says that the mail was returned. Was the mail returned for them too?
Yes. So a lot of the mail is returned, and that means that they deny the certified mail.
Okay. Well, I like am surprised by that for 1147 Mass Ave. Okay. Yeah, if
I
we
think-
could maybe, so what do I know we contact DEP for 1168 Mass Ave rear. For 1147 Mass Ave, what would you recommend our next steps be?
I think I can try one more time to contact. Now that I'm here full time and I have more accessibility to files, I can do a little bit of research and see if I can get an actual contact. Sometimes with mail, if it's certified, you don't know who it's coming from. So a lot of people deny their certified mail. It's very common because it doesn't
Really?
actually tell you who it's coming. Yes, I've seen it tons of times just because you don't know who's sending you mail. You don't know what it is. So
Never even occurred to me to say no. I'm always just like, sure, give it to me.
yes. So I think that now that I am here full time, I can, I think I mentioned this last time, it's just trying to get through maybe the clerk's office and see if I can get some property cards and have an actual contact and maybe just place a phone call and see if I can reach them via phone and say, hey, what's going on?
Okay. And then, so it looks like you are in contact with 48 Meadow Lane.
Yes.
And we're gonna mail a violation to 314 Highland Street.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to add to any of that before I move on?
No.
Okay. All right. I'm going to move on to new business. I see that we have, since Bill Hannigan will be presenting an update on 260 Falula Road. And I see that we have Bill on the call and he's already given us some good information. So are you prepared to talk about 260 Flula Road?
Yeah, this is related to the FRA property, which is selling to GFI, which you have an order conditions on for that work for a new building in Fitchburg, crossing the line over into Lunenburg. But the order conditions that was done, there were two order conditions that are out there. There's the two that are listed back to back, one for 260 Falula and one for 100 Summer Street. Those in commission members who have been around for a while remember this. The Tango construction project was where they had piled a bunch of materials on the FRA property. FRA is Fitchburg Redevelopment Authority, just for the record. So they had put a bunch of construction debris onto a piece of land that was not theirs. They got called to the table by them saying you have to move all that stuff. We got involved and we said we had to go back in front of the commission. We had to go in front of the commission to basically outline the work that we needed to do to get rid of all the materials and to do restoration. So we did a restoration plan for the work on Tango. Tango then entered into an agreement to buy a portion of that land, and as part of that transaction, we did some riverfront restoration with invasive species removal. And FRA, as part of the sale, required them to go to the commission and get a similar restoration plan put onto their land, which has been approved by the commission. So that's you'll see that the 1252 and the 1165, those are the two orders of conditions that are out there. So at this point in time, we were in the process of finalizing the work or going over the final work with Tango on their property, and we were trying to close out the work on the two of them. We were kind of basically going to do them at the same time. Tango still has a little bit of work left to do on their project to finish the work on and around their site, but the work on the FRA property has been completed. So I'm just going to go to the, I'll share my screen in a second. So the Tango construction work, come on. Okay. All right. The Tango construction work, they had a bunch of materials and structures within the buffer zone. They were encroaching on the 30-foot buffer zone, the 50-foot buffer zone, for a bunch of different stuff. So this was done back in 2019. And what we agreed to with the commission is that these areas here would be restored and cleaned up. Most of it has been done. We were then going to be putting a row of either Jersey barriers or boulders along the buffer zone for future protection of that area in the back. As part of that work, this is the area that they had the stockpile for the material. We agreed to restore this area here, which was basically ended up. Originally, we were going to go in and we were going to cut things down and regrade things, etc. When we went out and looked at the site and started trying to do that, it would have been much more detrimental to do that work than it would have been just to do an invasive species treatment. So we did the invasive species treatment. We were required to send the work, and this was done, I think, when Sophia was around, we sent this over to her of when the work was begun. Water and Wetland did that work. They did it on both the FRA land, which extends. So this is the limit of the work that was done for Tango in this area here, and then this section is all about the area for. I'm not sure if you can see my cursor, but all that area there is the land that was being treated for invasives along the FRA property. So the two order of conditions there, the one is for solely the work on the FRA property, which is just invasive species treatment. And then the work on the Tango project was invasive areas treatment in this area, along with all this other work that was supposed to be done and has not quite been finished as of yet. So the update that I wanted to provide is that we are getting ready to go back out and have them do this work. But in the meantime, FRA is trying to sell this land to GFI Partners to build a warehouse structure, which is going to be located in about this area here, which has been approved by the town and the city. So what we'd like to do is come in. I wanted to come in and talk to Herlin about this, about whether we should just file the request for certificate of compliance or have a quick little discussion about it so that you knew what was coming and you knew what we were doing and how we were doing it. So once again, this has all been treated. Chuck Karen has reviewed all this area as well to confirm it was effective, as well as the people from Water and Wetland did the same thing. We know there's snow on the ground right now, but we were gonna where this is just treatment, we were going to request that we file a certificate of compliance request with a letter from Chuck Karen stating the work was done. He's visited the site, and if we happen to have enough time between now and the next meeting where the snow's gone, we can actually walk that area with Herlin in the meantime, which it sounds like we might have that ability. Then what we would do is this summer, hopefully, Tango puts in this berm that was required from the original plan, and to get that phasing done so that they're done on their work and they get the rest of the area cleaned up. Then we can do an as-built of this sometime mid-late summer and come back in late summer, early fall, and do the request for certificate of compliance for this order of conditions, because they're two separate orders of conditions. So that's the approach I wanted to use, but I wanted to kind of get the commission's input on how they felt about that. Part of the issue is that this is holding not the Tango one, but the FRA order of conditions is holding up the closing for the Fitchburg Redevelopment Authority to sell the property. So that's my request is to be able to submit a request.
Okay. All right. Do we have any questions from members of the commission? Richard, you have your hand up.
Thank you. Hey, Bill, is the order of conditions on the Tango property still active?
Yes.
Or has it expired?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
With all of the extensions, it's still active.
Got it. We did an extension. We got the COVID. I think we got the COVID extension. Then we did an extension, and then we got the most recent extension by the governor. So I believe that's good until 2027. So we still have enough time on that one.
Okay, I was pretty sure it did. I just figured I'd poke you just to make sure. And myself, I have no problem with the partial, so that you can close on 260. Get Chuck.
We would request a full certificate of compliance on the FRA property.
Yep.
And then we're not going to request a certificate of compliance for the Tango property until it's actually completed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Makes sense to me.
Okay.
Do we have any? Thank you, Richard. Do we have any other members of the commission who have any comments or questions? Okay. Herlin, do you have any comments or questions about this?
No, I spoke to Bill extensively about these two projects, and I only recommended that he come forth and present this to the commission because I wasn't sure if you guys were going to have him file a partial or a full certificate of compliance. So I advise him that I would rather you guys decide that before he files for a partial, and it was denied. So it's just like a technicality thing, but no issues with this. I'm familiar with this project on the Fitchburg side as well.
Great. Okay, so Richard, sounds like you would be fine with the full um certificate of compliance for the 260
Yeah, I would
Palula
have no,
property.
yep, I would have no problem with that.
Okay, and then let me just get input from the rest of the commissioners. Mike, do you have any feelings either way?
No, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Andrea.
That sounds good to me.
Okay, Teddy.
Sounds good to me.
And Mary.
I'm aligned.
What'd you say?
I said I'm aligned with the rest of the commission.
Okay, good. Okay. So that sounds like we are fully aligned
Okay.
on.
So
Yeah.
we'll file the request for certificate of compliance on the FRA portion of the property, and we'll keep you up to date as we get going further on the rest of the Tango project.
Okay, great.
All right. Thank you very
Thanks so
much for your
much.
time.
Okay. Oh, I think he's gone. Oh no, he's still there.
I'm still here.
I just want to say thank you for your presentation.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for watching my presentation. And Herman, by the way, the Celtics are down by 23 points right now.
Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry.
Yeah, they're playing a 500 team and they're down by 23.
Ah.
But there's 8:55 left in the fourth quarter. Who knows?
Thanks
All
for
right.
the update, Bill.
Thank you. Have a good night.
I love that we're all using the reactions now. Okay, so up next we have topics unknown, and I think that Andrea had sent me some pictures of the Lane large property where we have some snowmobile usage on trails that are not designated for snowmobiles. And I don't know if that's something we would discuss under this. I honestly have no idea what I think. Do we already have signage that shows where snowmobiles can be? I know. So I don't know what the next steps would be for something like that. Or if this is even, if we think this is the proper place to talk about it. But people are, I know we had somebody go across the snowmobile trail, go across from the Lane property to the Peabody property, and Mary was very quick, which I really appreciate, to get some notifications up to the snow riders that to let them know that they shouldn't be doing that. But this is, I think that the snow riders, as far as you can tell, they know how to use the trails. So this isn't, I don't know that notifying them would do anything. Or I'm open to suggestions about how we want to move forward with, or if there's anything we can do to
Madam
get
Chair?
people using the property. Yes, Mike.
So you see this as an encroachment issue. It's not a grooming issue.
No, this was a snowmobile. There was a groomer on one side, is what it looked like to me. I can share the pictures too. Mary, you have your hand up.
Continue. I'll go next.
Okay. So in one of the pictures, there's kind of a divergence, and it looks like the groomer is on the trail, and then the snowmobile goes around a tree because it's not the real trail, maybe not be wide enough for the snowmobile, but I am not an expert on either of these things. This is all completely new territory to me, and I had no idea that this was going to be something that I had to be knowledgeable about when I volunteered for the Conservation Commission. So I'm just really trying to learn this stuff as quickly as I can, but there's a lot of new information. So Mary, you have your hand up. Please save me.
Oh, that's a high order. Can we just talk about this one issue? So yeah, so I did on the other issue, I did reach out to the snow riders and they were very responsive and actually got a no snowmobiling access sign placed out on the entrance to the Peabody road. We think somebody just somewhere got lost. And this one, I actually don't. I was just trying to look up the map to see where it might have been. Do you have the map handy, Madam Chair?
Yeah, so let me, I put the pictures into a folder so that I could share them if needed.
With the weather conditions that are predicted, I think that we're probably not going to have to deal with a concern about this maybe until next year.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, why is my phone's not charging? And now my phone won't let me do anything because it's saying that it's dying. Hold on.
And I certainly would be happy to reach out to the snow riders and ask them to take action, but I don't know what action we would ask them to take. We wouldn't want to block the trail or anything because, the green trails are, multi-use. They're just not snowmobile, use. So the snow dog groomer, I think, is allowed out in that area. Mountain bikers, walkers, for that matter, equestrians are allowed on the green trails. So I don't think we'd want to do anything to block usage. And we could go put a no snow, or we could ask the snow riders to go put a no snowmobile accessible sign out there, but do we really want them to go and do that everywhere there's a trail that breaks off of a yellow or an orange trail?
Right, and I feel like it's well marked right now, so it seems like it's overkill.
I might recommend that we just take no action for now and see if it ends up being a persistent problem and then maybe collaborate with the snow riders on what possible solutions might be.
Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to get the phone to let me share. Usually I can share my screen from my phone to my computer, but it's not letting me. But I can pull up a map if they still want to look at it. And
That's right. I had the GIS up and there is a trails layer on there. I forgot.
I know that also that Montechusett also has a trail. Map
Madam
up.
Chair, I have the trail map up.
Okay.
Can I share?
Yes, please.
This. Can you guys see the trail map? And this is the Lunenburg GIS with
I forgot that this is in the GIS layers too.
Yeah, and I thought I had recalled that maybe the area was here. Andrea, do you recall?
I think there and maybe a little bit further up because it included part of the Blue Trail.
Oh, so it was up here.
Yes. So it was like yeah, I think that's where the picture that she
Okay.
sent me was. It was.
So they were way off trail.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm surprised they were able to get there. Okay, so I would still recommend that maybe we take no action and see if there's any further incursion and then collaborate with the snow riders about remedies if they're. And again, I suspect that it's not a snow rider because that group tends to be very responsive and take these permissions very seriously.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way. Okay. So Andrea, if you or your husband see anything else, please let me know.
Okay, yep. And I just
and I-
really wanted to make people aware of this. I didn't expect, that we could really do anything at this point, but just to be aware.
Yeah, and I think that if we keep seeing it, for sure we're are gonna want to do something about it. Um, it's just the signs are there and they show what you can do on what trails. So it's my thinking would be that whomever's doing it probably knows that they're not supposed to be doing it. So I don't think a sign is going to do anything, but hopefully we don't see it again. But we can kind of take it as we see it. Does anyone else? Richard, you have your hand up.
In thinking about this, Jenny, maybe we should just let the snow riders know that this violation has occurred so they can keep their ear to the ground and kind of keep an eye out for it. Because, I mean, they are the group that has petitioned for permission to use motorized vehicles on these properties or connecting trails on either side of the property. So, in doing that, they do accept some of the responsibility to help us police it. So, but I wouldn't necessarily go putting signs up everywhere, but certainly I would be in favor of just a quick letter or an email, just letting them know that this is occurring so they can just keep an eye on it.
And Rich, I have notified them of it.
Super. Thank you very much, Mary. You're right on top of it as usual.
Yes, she's so on top. I don't know how she does it because she works, I think maybe more than I do. And
Work
all
a
hours
lot.
of the day. Yeah. So, and you have time to do this stuff. I don't know. I don't know where
There's
you find the
little
time to be
sleeping
entertained.
involved.
Yeah. I need my 8 to 9 hours every night. That's why I'm usually asleep by now. Um, okay, so do we have anything else we want to add to that, or can I move on? All right. We have a right of first refusal for 1083 Northfield Road. 1083 Northfield Road is the property that has the uh subdivision for 5 homes with a shared public driveway. It looks like the current property owner has decided to sell, which puts it up as a right of first refusal. It's under forestry. And does anyone have any thoughts about that? Either way, I mean, I know we do own a lot of property around that, or the Parks Department owns some property around that. I don't know that the Conservation Commission, although it is a beautiful property. Actually, Richard, it's the property that you walked with me that time. Um, it's a beautiful property, and I would love for the town to own it. I don't know that that's something that's in our wheelhouse, though. And so does anyone have any thoughts on that?
Madam Chair, do you have a map of the property?
Yeah, so I think you've been there with me twice, Mike.
Okay.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
Madam Chair,
Do you-
I still have the GIS up.
Oh yeah, Mary. That would be great. So, Mike, do you remember you were there when Richard came out on a walk with us, right?
Yes. So it's
Yeah,
that
so
property.
it's that property. Yeah, so
Okay.
it's a beautiful property. It's with the logging road, but lots of
Yep.
wetlands and
There are no
trees.
structures on it. It's just
Yep. And then also, I think, do we own the property? Parks owns the property right to the right?
No,
If I remember correctly.
no.
No?
This is
Oh, I think
Settlers
that's the
Crossing.
golf course.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This
The
is
one.
the Northfield Park right here.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. And so parcel 31, the town doesn't own? Sorry, that's the one I was talking about.
This one is owned by I think one of the Powell corporations,
Okay.
331 Mass Ave or something like that.
Okay. And then is 312 town property?
No, that's also these two were joined and were subdivided because the town has had several, and the owners have had several greenhouse grower types of opportunities. I don't know that there's one currently
Oh,
there. The town owns this property and this property. This
okay.
one and that one.
That was the one that I think Cavicchio was gonna maybe go into. So I know that we have uh the town a hope to get over to the Hannaford area, but this property wouldn't help us with that at all. So, okay, so
You know
And
what
I
they're
think,
asking for the
oh, go
property,
ahead.
Madam Chair?
$765,000 is the offer he has on the property.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Harlan,
Madam Chair,
oh, yep.
go ahead.
No, Mary, what were you gonna say?
So in our current open space planning policy, I don't think it's called a policy, but there's set forth their strategy for acquiring new open space, and there's 6 criteria and recommendations to purchase are supposed to satisfy at least 3.
Yeah.
One of them is that the parcel is above greater than 50 acres. One of them is that it's adjacent to other town-owned land. There's one that's about prime agricultural land. I forget what the other 2 are. I don't know if anybody else remembers, but I just off the cuff, I don't think this. I was just going to look and see what the parcel size is.
30 acres.
Yeah, I don't think it satisfies any of those criteria.
Yeah. So, okay, thank you. Harlan, you have your hand raised.
Sorry, I was just going to reiterate. I think that this is a good example of the same issue that we were discussing with Mr. Roy earlier, where the property files for chapter and then files for a permit for development, and there's no cool down period for that. So we have properties that do property owners who do the clear cutting under the forest cutting plan. There's no cool down period for that. So then flip it over and then turn it into development. And I'm not sure if there's anything we can do about that, but I just wanted to put it out there that there is an active order of conditions on this property that is under Chapter 61, and he is now selling it.
Yeah, so I was actually, that is, it should have gone to right of first refusal before there was an order of conditions, right?
Not technically, if he doesn't, not technically. So there is a loophole, and the
Okay.
applicant has not recorded the order of conditions.
Okay, so, but if the applicant hasn't recorded the order of conditions and the property sells, if it's not recorded, it wouldn't follow, would it?
It can be recorded after the sale. Because the
Okay, and
order of
that's the
condition,
loophole.
yes, the order of conditions becomes valid once it's recorded.
Okay, it blows my mind that you can, I obviously, if you have an order of conditions and it's recorded, then it makes sense that it would follow. But I would think that if it hasn't been recorded, it wouldn't, you think the new property owner wouldn't be able to record it. But obviously that's not the case. So just seems logically like that would be. Mary, do you have your hand up or did you leave it up?
I probably just left it. Oh yeah, I did just leave it up. Apologies.
Okay, so well, it sounds like this does not hit any of the required. Oh, Richard, you have your hand up.
I just had a quick question for Harlan. If she had the cutting plan up, is it still active or has it been signed off by the forester?
Let me see. I don't have the forest cutting plan for this.
Because it was a few years ago that they did it.
So typically they're only active for a year. I can definitely reach out to Chris, but I'm used to only
make sure
see.
he's
Yes.
closed it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know they have to meet a certain growth back period.
Yes.
So many seed saplings have to be per acre or per square meter, or there's some criteria before they close out the permit, and they can't do anything while the permit is still open.
I can definitely reach out to Chris, our regional forester, and ask about this one as well. Because I will be asking about the one from earlier. I think I can't remember which one was it. 816 US Townsend Road.
816 US Townsend Road. Yeah, that one looks like it was a while ago too, looking at it from the overheads.
Oh, okay.
You can certainly see where it was cleared and the logging roads throughout the property.
I was
But yeah, that's definitely a bit of a loophole, Jenny. They can go in, buy the property, clear, or not clear cut it, but can provide forest management on it and then permit it and flip it. You know, there are things they have to do in order to take it out of 61A, other than the right of first refusal. They do end up having to pay back a portion of the property taxes that were deferred or were not charged.
Okay.
So that's the big advantage, is they're not paying the standard residential property tax rate. It's a much lower rate that they pay on Chapter 61 land, either forestry or ag or open space.
Okay. And then I was actually just looking because I thought I saw that the forestry plan in the original application, but I don't see it there now.
I think it may have been there when we walked the property. It was
I
part
thought
of
it was
where we
too, but I'm
added.
not seeing it. Maybe I just looked it up and found it somewhere else. Maybe I found, you know what? I think I found it in the SharePoint. Now that I'm thinking about it.
It would have been logged and managed before we had migrated to
Yeah.
OpenGov.
Yeah, because they do have to file a copy of it with us if there's wetlands for comment.
So it looks like the cutting plan, the last one I see is from 2024. So if they only last a year, it would be closed out then. What is the
Do we have do we have to accept requests for permits on land that's still in chapter as a matter of process?
I think we do, yes. If they file a permit, because the actual activation of the permit is the order of conditions. So that's why I say that loophole is there. So the permit isn't active until they record that order. So we have to accept their proposed project, technically.
Because the reason why I asked that question is that first right of refusal, right, is based on a typically an offer or an assessment on the land, and that value goes up once the permits are granted. Very often.
Quite a loophole.
Yeah, it is quite a loophole. If they don't have to notify us until after they've been through all the permitting processes, it could eliminate opportunities. I mean, it could eliminate the opportunities that the regulation was put in place to provide. Anyway, but if we have to, we have to. I don't know how firm in your understanding you are about that, Herland, but if you think at all it's questionable, maybe ask next time you're with town council or whatnot. I wouldn't say schedule time specifically on that point.
I will. I know that I've met with DEP and DCR because they both collaborate together to try to stop this from happening, and it's beyond their control.
I mean, legislation could change it.
Yeah, I think it just borders a very murky line in, infringing in property owner rights and what we can kind of not do. But
Yeah.
I will definitely look more into this. I know that I'll touch base, like I said, with Chris, who is our regional forester, and ask what his thoughts are on this too.
Okay. Rich, you have your hand up?
Nope, just didn't lower it. Sorry about that.
Okay. All right. I have a question that is not necessarily super relevant to it's this property, but they also have, I was just looking through their OpenGov history and they have an ANR. And this is the second one of these I've seen in a month. And previously I had never seen one of these before. And I don't fully understand what it is. It's an approval not required. And I'm just curious if anyone wants to take a minute to help me fully understand what it is or if anyone knows. I did look it up, but I just still don't fully understand it.
I think an A&R plan is a plan to subdivide a property. And it just shows that they meet all of the requirements so that they're not making a non-conforming lot.
But
Or
it's
subdivision.
it's weird to me that this one, so it's from January 28th, 2026. So it's pretty new. The lot has already been subdivided and approved for permitting. So, I
Yeah,
guess,
but that's just in concept. They still have to go to the planning board with a plan to subdivide the lot and rewrite the deeds.
okay.
So
So they
that's
had
not
already,
done during our permitting process, no.
yeah. But I was saying they already had, when they came to us, they had the planning board special permit, they had, um, a bunch of other permits when they were coming to us, or they were in the process. So maybe, okay. So this is just part of that finalization of that process.
Correct.
Probably. Okay. Okay. Um, all right. End up. Uh-oh. Says my internet connection is unstable. That's not good.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you can hear me, so that's good. Let me
Oh,
turn
yeah.
what my VPN to work is running. Let me turn that off. Sometimes that gets wonky. Okay. I think we're stable now. Hopefully. All right, I can see people moving, so we're good. Everybody's frozen for a second. All right. So, Harlan, you had your hand up. It looks like.
It was just to briefly state that typically an A&R is for deed purposes. You subdivide a lot to make sure they're not conforming, and then they are conforming, and then it's so you can establish a deed for that subdivided lot.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. So do we want to vote to not exercise our right of first refusal or do we just move on? I think maybe we should vote just to make it formal.
Yep. Yeah, because it's a commission stating that, so we should vote on it.
Yeah. All right. I'm looking for a motion to not exercise our right of first refusal.
So moved.
So move. Second, Richard.
Okay. Roll call vote. Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Andrea Burnap,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Mary Wilson,
Aye.
and I for myself. Bylaw discussion. Herlin, did you have any updates that you wanted to give us about things that you had been looking into?
Sure. So basically, I actually had set some time with council, but they were running really behind, and then I had to go on sidewalk, so we didn't get to meet. But I was thinking of touching base about updating our fee schedule. Currently, I don't know if I mentioned this during the last meeting, but our fee schedule sits in the town charter and then also sits in our bylaw. And because of that, we cannot update it. It has to go through the select board and then through town meeting. Am I correct with the verbiage?
Yes.
So what we can do and what other municipalities do is they take it out of the town charter and they replace it with verbiage that says or states, for fee schedule pertaining to conservation, please see the conservation bylaw. And then that moves it just into the bylaw and leaves the authority with the commission so that changes can be made more easily that way. At this moment, I just shared with the chair that we are only collecting fees on NOIs. We're not collecting fees for administrative approvals, amendments, COCs, extensions, or anything of that sort. And that's not reflective with what other adjacent towns collect for fees. So I was hoping that I can sit with council and talk to them about what the potential of that is, and then coming back to you guys and seeing what your thoughts are on maybe updating our fee schedule and then moving it out of the town charter.
I think that's wonderful and I love that idea. And I'm so happy that you're looking into that. So thank you for taking the initiative on that.
You're welcome. There's a huge deficit in what we collect for fees.
Yeah,
So
I was kind of surprised by how low our WPA fund was. I just assumed that it was bigger. Mary, you have your hand up.
Oh, I just want to really say I am so happy to hear this because it's something that I had tried to do and just ran out of steam, and there were so many other problems going on that we weren't able to action it. But yeah, I think we're really, really behind, and we're not, in terms of best practice. I don't think we've raised these fees in a very, very long time. Yeah, so we need to get more in alignment, and then with a recommendation to move the fees out of the town charter and into the regulation. That makes a lot of sense. Particularly since all the other market rates that influence whether we're seeing a high demand or a low demand can change very quickly. That makes a ton of sense. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Harlan. MAC, it says the MAC upcoming convention, but it was the MAC bygone convention now. And Andrea and Teddy went. I ended up not going because I had bad oral surgery that I had to have reversed. But I wanted to know, Andrea or Teddy, did you have any takeaways that you wanted to share with us? Anything, Teddy?
Yeah, I had a good time at this convention. I did a vernal pool lecture that discussed going to an area that you might suspect is a vernal pool, documenting various species, uploading it to certain professionals. I don't have the materials yet. They haven't emailed them to me, but vernal pools are not protected unless you certify them. And so this lecture was about like starting on your property. If you have anywhere that might be a vernal pool, you can document species and upload it and potentially get it certified, because there's many places in Massachusetts that have potential vernal pools that are not certified. So I will have more information on that once I get emailed the conference materials. I also did climate change adaptation, where one of the key takeaways is that we are in deep doo-doo when it comes to climate change. But the professor said something kind of like controversial, where some climate scientists are suggesting planting some non-native species that are more adapted to what the future conditions might be in certain areas. So I just thought that was really interesting. Andrea, do you have anything?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go to the fundamentals unit 103, and it was about plan review and site visit procedures. So that was pretty interesting. For one thing, the most interesting thing to me was it was the first time I had seen a plan actually on paper, and stood over it and could move it around and mark it up and stuff, as opposed to just looking at it on a screen. And I think I would really prefer that, but here we are. I don't think that's going to happen. Couple of interesting things that I took away were that the statement was made that wetland replacement only works like 50% of the time. So, it's nice when we're given mitigation plans, but we need to keep in mind that they might not work. And what was one other thing?
While you're thinking of that, I want to say that when Herlin first started working with us, one of the things that she said that they do in Fitchburg is that they require the wetland replication to be stabilized before the rest of the work moves forward. And I thought that that was a really good idea.
Yeah,
that
that sounds good.
Oh, but keep going. Sorry. Oh, Herlin, you have your hand raised.
Yes. So in Fitchburg, so replication areas take about 2 years to stabilize. And typically, if it's not a single family home or if it's commercial, that's how long usually a project takes. So we in Fitchburg, they required replication areas to be the first thing on their construction sequence plan, which is also something that I was going to ask if the commission requires here, because I don't see those on plans. Basically, you ask for the sequence plan as to what's going to happen first, second, and third in phases for the project, so that you know that there's the least amount of encroachment into the resource area or the buffer zones. But yes, you are absolutely right.
So as far as I know, we don't require that now, but I as one commissioner am very open to that. And also I think that, sometimes from some of the applications that I've seen where, a lot of clear cutting is done before all of the work can be done, and then it leads to a lot of problems. I think that having a sequence and sticking to it would be really helpful.
Yeah, I think that was mentioned. As Teddy said, we didn't get the materials yet, and so I may have more to share once I can review the presentation again. I also went to a presentation about biodiversity conservation, and I think the same one that the same one about climate adaptation, and those being our two greatest challenges, basically the biodiversity and climate change. So it was a great opportunity to learn more about these things.
I'm really happy that you guys are both able to go despite some issues that we had getting you there. Please, I saw Andrea, you forwarded your receipt? Teddy, did you get your receipt
Yes, I
too?
sent it to Herlin.
Okay, perfect. I don't know if you guys noticed I shared my screen. I just did that because Teddy, you had been talking about potential versus certified vernal pools, and I didn't know if you knew that in the GIS layers in Lunenburg and actually across the state, this isn't just Lunenburg, there are callouts. If you look at the NHESP data for certified vernal pools and potential vernal pools. So if you're ever, inclined, you could, if there's any that are like on somewhere that is accessible, you could go check for potential and maybe try to get it certified, or this is if you were to report one, this is where it would end up.
Yeah, I think this when the weather gets warmer, I'm gonna go take some trips and see what I can find.
Cool. Okay. Do you guys have anything else to share about the convention? Okay, well, I look forward to hearing more if you do get your handouts and then think there's more that you want to talk about at the next meeting. Lunenburg Earth Days, Herlin. You had an idea that you had a plan that you're running with. You want to loop everyone in on that?
Yeah,
How's
so
that?
sorry.
No, go.
I wanted to host a very small event on Earth Day, which is Wednesday, April, I was gonna say February, um, April 22nd. I reached out to the town manager's office, only because I'm not sure what the details are for town events. And um, I am not sure if it's going to be feasible now because I have to go in front of the select board and then present to them and then reach out to potential vendors. But my idea was to have a few local vendors and organizations, maybe from 2 to 6. I was hoping to have it at TC Pasio's, which is an indoor space. And in the past, we've had the Nashua River Watershed Native. I think we said this all last time. A few organizations have them go there, offer their services, or just display information and have people show up. But I'm not so sure the feasibility of that, considering that we're just a month out, and I'm not sure the availability of people with such a short notice. But I can still try to push for it. If the commission wants to kind of move forward with this, I will be more than happy to, continue to try to get this happening. I just, like I said, I'm not sure how many people will actually show up for vendors and orgs because it is very last minute.
Okay. Teddy, you have your hand up?
Thank you. Yeah, Herlin, I would love to help you out with this if there's anything that I can do. I am working on a sort of my own conservation like project, like just a poster board material, and I do have a like fact sheet that I did for an extracurricular that I was participating in during my master's program for environmental science. And I'm just trying to get like a poster board, like trifold set up with like some information for people in the town that can jumpstart improving their soil health.
That's
So
a
yeah, if
great
you need any
idea.
help, I'm happy to oblige.
Yeah, thank you. I would appreciate it. And I'm gonna send you a message, Teddy, because I have someone that might be willing to connect with you on the soil remediation, who is an expert in that can facilitate us too during Earth Day as well.
That would be amazing. Robin V, who does a lot of stuff with the Friends at the library, and she's a trustee, is also like a great resource. And I talk to her a lot when I'm doing gardening. She has a food forest at her house, and she's helping me with my food forest in my yard. And that's kind of like the centerpiece of my project is food, like creating food forests.
Oh, awesome. I know that Andrea also sent me a link. She sent me some information about something else that the library was doing. So I'm going to look into that too. In the past, I have hosted local municipality agencies. So like DPW will help at the event, and the local library, and I think I met with Karen, I think her name is, from Parks and Recs, the commission, and she was also open to helping out too. So maybe we can get this going. It might be small the first year, but at least it's something.
Nice. And
Yeah, I think
speaking of the library, I'm donating a an e-waste TerraCycling box. So if you have any wires or old electronics that you haven't thrown out, that should be at the library next month.
I could probably fill it in one
Oh,
trip.
I was gonna
Yep.
say, how big is the box?
Yeah, it's I bought one. I bought the small version because like I had stuff that I need to throw away. And we nearly filled it up in a day. So I bought the large version to donate to the library. I don't have the exact dimensions. I think it's like 15 by 11 by 36 inches maybe.
I could
But
fill
yeah,
it up
it's
10 times. That's awesome, Teddy. Um, Mary, you've had your hand up for a long time, so I want you to talk first.
Well, I have two topics, and one of them I think I should wait until after this topic has run its course. But I'm so excited to hear people that are very interested in, actually continuing the April Earth Days, because I think that's such a wonderful thing about our community. And I'm sad that I'm not, don't have the bandwidth of, kind of being more invested in it this year. But I'm really glad that it's not just gonna peter out and die. So thank you all. I think that's awesome.
Me too. Thanks, Mary. Andrea, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I took the liberty of reaching out to the library about a movie that I thought they could show. It's called The Extraordinary Caterpillar, and it's being I don't know if it was produced or the Homegrown National Park had a role in launching it. And so I haven't heard back, but I'm hoping that they'll be able to do that.
Cool.
Cool.
I'm just looking it up. I hadn't heard about this. I love Doug Tallamy. So I'm definitely gonna watch it. But very cool. Let me know
Oh,
if
it's one
it
of
ends up
Doug's,
happening,
I
because
will
I
do.
would love to go to that.
Sure.
Mary, do you still have your hand up or?
I have another topic, but I'll only let this run its course, and then I'll bring up my other topic.
Okay. So,
Tangential.
as far as the thing at TC Passios, I have the thing at TC Passios. I think that if we can get something small going and see how that goes, uh, I think it's a good idea. And I can take the day off of work, Harlan, if you need help. I'm due for a day off, so I think it's a good reason to take a day off. But I could help out in any way I can. Maybe we want to, but I don't know if it's a lot of work right now and we feel like it's too much work, then we could just start planning for next year instead. So I think however you want to roll with that is good by me. Um, and then as far as other, Mary, is it related to Earth Days ideas or is it a
It's
totally
related to
different?
educational stuff.
Okay. I'd like to hear what you want to talk about.
So last year we had a goal to try to implement a plan where we actually put, we have a little flyer about what are our buffer zones and what are our wetlands regulations. And I mean, it was just a link to the wetlands regulations, but it was kind of a diagram, a pictograph, if you will, of when you need to get permits. And we were going to send that out in one of the annual tax mailings. And I really would like to get that back now that we have full-time staff. Yay, Herlin. I would like to see if we could get that back on the agenda to try to do whatever we need to do. I think Sophia had gotten a budget kind of put together for doing the printing them out, and I think that was somewhere around $1,200 or less, right? But I think that's an important thing, and I do think that's part of our charter here in the commission is to help ensure awareness by the general public of when they might need to to get a permit. So I'm hoping that we might get that back on our to-do list.
Yeah, and then the little infographic that we have now, I know that we had talked about possibly updating it a little bit. And
Adding a QR code that then linked people back to so both writing down the website, but then also a QR code that would take people right to inland information on inland wetland protection.
Is that the infographic you're asking me about, Mary?
No.
Oh, okay.
Herlin, if we wanted to have that updated and have, pay like a graphic designer to do that, we could use the WPA funds for that.
Yes.
But we already have an infographic on our
Okay.
webpage. We were just gonna just plop a QR code on there that
Okay.
people could scan and get them back to that webpage.
Okay, so we're gonna leave it thinking of leaving it just how it is and not adding anything to it or
I think for now it's we've not executed on it for so long. I would say let's just execute on it first and then improve it.
okay. Okay.
It's called something like the Wetland Protection Act flyer or something on our webpage, on our Conservation Commission webpage. And I think it would be useful to have some of those on town bulletin boards or bulletin boards in the Ritter building, bulletin boards in like the library and whatnot, to help people, kind of just create more awareness of why people, get these violations and get hauled in front of us, and we shake our fingers at them and say you weren't supposed to do that.
Right. Yeah, no, 100%. I was seeing if I could pull it up, but the website's being very slow. Or maybe I'm being very
Yeah, I
slow.
was just trying to do it too.
Okay, so
It's
it's
your
not just me.
it's your technical difficulties. I can't
Yeah.
talk and type at the same time.
I found something that says like a guide to wetlands protection laws in Lunenburg, like a PDF, like a trifold, right?
Yeah,
I think
that's it.
so, yeah.
That is the one.
Share what you have. I bet that's it.
It's like a PDF. Hold on.
I got there faster.
I have technical difficulties too because I cannot seem to.
Is it
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
So it's 2-pager. Like it's got this.
Yeah.
I mean, we could put a QR code anywhere in here. It got our website already. And then it's got, just a little Venn diagram, right? Which I think is great to help people understand.
Yeah. Mike, give your hand up.
Yes, I do, Madam Chair. I think that's a wonderful idea, Mary. By the way, I'm sort of like in back of a comment that was made, and I said, "What? Doug Tallamy has a documentary out on caterpillars? I was not aware of that. I'm a big Doug Tallamy fan. Is it like you have to get a group together in order to view this? You have to be licensed to show this documentary? Or do we have it? Or is it something you're encouraging us to
You
view?
don't have to. Actually, let me just.
I'm gonna step away for 1 second. You guys keep going.
Okay. I'm just a bug guy, sort of like that whole notion of caterpillars.
There was a limited release last week, which I'm thinking this is probably the week before last week at this point. But and you could get a ticket, just individuals. But they also have a thing where you can bring the film to your community and you
Okay.
can post it. And you can either charge admission or you can have it for free. And it wasn't a very large amount. I think it was, maybe about $100. It depends on how many people you expect to attend, kind of. It's like a sliding scale kind of a thing.
So I obviously missed the one that has already happened.
I'm not sure about that. You might be able to still get a ticket. Maybe you can't it says you get your free ticket before February 24th. So maybe you can't get a free ticket anymore. But if you go to the Homegrown National Park website, you can probably
Okay. All right.
find out about it there.
Thanks, Andrea. I appreciate it.
Sure.
what was it called again? The extraordinary
The,
caterpillar.
the
Extraordinary.
extraordinary caterpillar.
But
Right.
Google knows me because I looked at it on my phone before and I went and I just typed in in my
And they
search
gave
bar
you the title?
and
Wow.
it came up with the extraordinary caterpillar. So either it's listening or it knows what
That's
I'm looking for. Because I was thinking, I feel like Homegrown National Park is very, I guess the only word I can think, phrase I can think of is like open source and purchase, but it does say purchase license. Estimated how will attendees receive tickets, paid. Did I miss you guys talking about this?
no,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay. So institutional license fee, 150. Okay. I don't know why I assumed that it would be free, but it makes sense. Everybody, deserves
It was
payment for
free
their IP.
individually. It was free individually for a while, and I think they stopped that. But for a community showing, there is a fee that would be paid, but the people coming in, it would be free to them unless you
Right.
wanted to charge.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool. Okay. Um, so as far as the Earth Day stuff goes, I feel like it felt so far away and now it's March and Earth Day is a month and a half away. Herlin, how are you feeling about running with your idea or do you want to just try to plan for next year?
I think I can run with it. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure because it's a Wednesday, like a few local people might show up. A lot of the organizations, North County Land Trust, National River Watershed, have multiple volunteers, so somebody will show up with
Okay.
a table. I think it'll be
Okay.
fine.
All right. And then definitely I'm available to help if you need it.
Okay.
Um, I can, if you would like me to, I will put my PTO day in tomorrow.
I'll let
Um,
you know.
okay. And do we have any other ideas as far as Earth Day goes? It's tough because the weather, it's like a hard day to plan for. I know Pollinator Habitat definitely has days that they would love to get some volunteers together. They're thinking that the end of April is probably a little early for any of that stuff. Is that, do you think the same, Mike? Have you heard anything else that I
Uh,
have?
yes, I think Christina was thinking about May.
Yeah. So I think we
Her,
could definitely try to get something together for May
yes,
and record some volunteer hours and do that, but I don't know that would be Earth Day.
right.
Yeah. Does anyone else have anything they want to add to Earth Day? No,
Unfortunately, Madam Chair, I will be in Italy, so I can't help you.
unfortunately.
Well,
That
unfortunately, I
sounds really
can't help you.
unfortunate.
I'm just not in the proximity of helping in
Yeah,
Lunenburg on that day, but I'll be there in spirit.
Fortunate for us.
yeah. Unfortunate for us. Fortunate for Mike,
Right.
though. When do you come back from Florida, Mike?
It looks like it's going to be uh, the the end of March,
Okay.
so soon. It'll
Yeah.
be soon.
Supposed
But
to be
then,
almost 70
but
here
then
next week.
right, I won't be there for that. But my bees are coming April 6th, so I have to be home for April 6th to pick up my honeybees.
Okay.
So it's new
Cool.
season.
Yeah.
That's so exciting.
Do you have to get new bees
It
every
is.
year? They don't just like overwinter.
Well, well, sometimes they do, but lately there have been some issues um, that I've had to get new bees in the spring.
Okay.
Um, there have been a lot of issues with honeybees wintering over in New England because of various issues, but I won't bore you with that. But they're coming, hopefully we'll be there and we'll have them back in the hive, and then I'll leave to go to Italy, and hopefully they'll do their thing while I'm gone.
All right, cool. All right, I don't think we have anything left on Earth Days, so I'm going to move on. I don't have anything on the budget right now, unless you want to pipe in, Harlan. I think I'll skip over that. Although previously we did get budget updates at like the middle of the month meeting, so maybe we could look at getting that more on track again for the next meeting. We don't have any encroachment issues. Although, okay, and then Hollis Road residents, I got an email from Richard. You got this email too, I saw. I don't know if you noticed it. The food pantry,
Food pantry, yeah.
yeah, sent a message and asked about using the Hollis Road residents for the food pantry because TC Passios is being vacated at some point. Not for a while. I would have to talk to the town manager though, because I don't even know what the logistics of that would look like. Because obviously that property costs us money where we're heating it. There's electricity. I don't know what the food pantry does now. But that there's a pretty significant cost to keeping that property up and running. So I don't know how feasible that would be, but that is something that has come across the way on the Hollis Road residents. And then Mary, you have
Madam
your hand up.
Chair, yeah, I just wanted to say, the Hollis residence is a potential source of budget
Income.
for the town. Yeah,
Yeah.
or well, yeah, for ongoing, we are not funded to maintain our conservation areas.
Yeah.
And right now we've been enjoying some funding from tree harvesting of areas. And, I don't know if we want to persist that or not. I don't know to the extent that we have opportunities to persist that because we've done some kind of aggressive tree harvesting over several properties in the past years. And so you kind of have to wait 20 years, unless you're going to just tree all of your conservation lands. And I'm not certain that that's, how we want to, persist our stewardship. That, of course, is a Conservation Commission decision. But, our ability to, all the grants that we submit for require a 20% match, right?
Yeah.
And so even though that helps us extend, our funding, we still have to come up with some funding. So I just want to put that out there that, the Hollis residence does cost us money to operate. And then, it is a potential source of funding that has allowed us to improve and maintain our conservation lands. And I don't think that we should, eliminate that without acknowledging or having a plan to replace funding.
Okay. Yeah. Agree. Thank you, Mary. Okay. As far as the Hollis residence goes, in the interest of not having this meeting go until 11:30, I do want to maybe at the next meeting talk about some of we definitely, as it gets warmer, need to start looking at if we're going to fix that property up. I talked to the town manager about what that would entail. One of the things she said to me is that work done would have to be prevailing wage. I've gotten some conflicting info about what the limit for when it becomes prevailing wage is. So I don't know if you have any insight on that, Herlin. But trying to figure out how much it's going to be to get that property into habitable condition, if that's the way that we want to go. So I'm going to have to get some more information from the town manager because I was under the impression that under a certain amount of work isn't prevailing wage, but I'm not sure exactly what that is. I think it may be town to town too. So but yeah, we do have to talk about the Hollis Road residents at some point. Does anyone else have anything they want to add about the Hollis residents? No. All right, committee reports. All right. Master plan steering, anything happening there, Teddy?
We approved our meeting minutes, and I learned that you do not have to have attended the meeting of which like minutes were taken to approve them. So that was interesting to me. That was news to
Do
me.
you have to watch the meeting at least?
No, you just have to like bel believe that the person who put together the meeting minutes did so appropriately.
Okay. I feel like I have never read that anywhere. That's interesting. Okay. Good to
But
know.
yeah, that's what I learned, and we are not like dissolving the master plan committee just yet. It's Kim Duffy is gonna wait for the recommendations and like whole plan to come back from over under. And I'll just keep you posted when I hear more stuff. But that's all.
Okay. Sounds good. Um, open space, Chris was our delegate, or is that what it is? Our liaison to open space, and Chris is no longer on the commission. I did reach out to the town manager and ask her if she had any thoughts on that. I should have copied her executive assistant. I think that's what Melissa's title is, but I did not because I forgot. Um, but from everyone I've talked to and everything I've heard, the person has to be a sitting member of the commission, an appointed member of the commission, in order to be a liaison to another uh, commission or open space as a committee. So I think with that knowledge, and also the fact that there is an opening on open space for Chris to get appointed to if he wanted to. I think that we should look at getting somebody appointed to open space. And it would be nice to do that sooner rather than later. I had spoken to you, Andrea, to see if that was something that you were interested in. And you were at the time. Are you still interested?
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay. That's awesome. Does anyone have any uh thoughts otherwise, or would we be okay to maybe vote either tonight or at the next meeting to appoint Andrea as our liaison to open space, knowing that she's interested? Mary?
Madam Chair, I would be willing to recommend Andrea Burnap as the open space representative for the Conservation Commission.
I would
Okay.
second that.
All right. Mary, you had your hand up. Were you thinking the same thing?
Oh, I think Andrea would be great. A great
Me too.
representative for us.
Yeah, I'm very excited that she has stepped up and offered to do this. Okay, so I guess I'm just gonna take a roll call vote to appoint Andrea Burnap as our liaison to the Open Space Committee. Richard Bursch,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Teddy Doucette,
Aye.
Mary Wilson.
Aye.
Do I ask Andrea or do I just skip over? Like I'm just gonna skip over. I for myself, we have a majority. So Andrea, you are our new liaison to open space. I'll
Great.
send an email to you and is it Karen? Is it Karen Bernard? The
I know she's on
head of-
parks. I don't know about open
She's
space.
parks.
Oh, that's
Open
parks,
space
yeah.
is Mike
Mike
Toohill.
Toohill. That's right. And he will be here next meeting, I think, or maybe the first meeting in April. I have to look at the email. He was gonna be here tonight, but okay, yeah, so I will send him an email and CC you on it, Andrea.
Great, thank you.
I'm very excited because I've talked to you, you've talked a lot about the open space plans, and I think this is going to be really great with you
Looking forward to
advocating for that. Okay, so that's our open space. Stormwater. We met last night. And went over our documents for the meetings. We have a public info session tomorrow at the library at 7:15. If anyone's interested, Mike, you want to take a trip down from Florida to learn about stormwater, feel free. But yeah, so we're going to be doing an info session at the library tomorrow with Weston and Sampson. And we've been meeting like twice a week. And I think that after this info session, we might calm down a little bit before town meeting, probably go down to maybe one meeting a week. But that is where we are right now. We have some documents to hand out tomorrow. Weston and Sampson has a presentation, and we would love to see anyone there. 7:15 at the library. I forget what room it's in. It will also be the cable channel will be there recording. And do we have any other communications? I know we don't have any public comment. Okay, I think we're all eager to go to bed. Our next meeting is Wednesday at 3:18. Wednesday, 3:18 at 7. Harlan, you have your hand up.
Sorry, I just wanted to briefly say for those of you who are in town, MDAR, the agricultural department is having sorry, my mind just went blank.
It's late.
They're having an event at Mount Wachusett this weekend, an agricultural resource fair, and it's also Maple Fest this weekend. So a bunch of sugar houses will be open to the public. So if you're around town this weekend or in the area, all of the local sugar houses who are producing maple syrup will be open to the public, and we'll be hosting a ton of events. I just wanted to throw that in there before the meeting was over.
Thank you. So they're going to be at Mount Wachusett this weekend, MDAR.
Friday. Yeah, Friday
Oh,
from
Friday.
Yes,
Okay.
Friday.
All right, I was gonna say this weekend. I was trying to figure out where they would be, that it wouldn't be insane during the weekend. Because it's very crazy. My daughter works there. And it's very hectic there on the weekends. So it's Friday during the day.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you for letting us know about that. The maple sugar thing sounds pretty cool. So it's just like, is there a list of addresses that somewhere or?
Yes, I am trying to get the list. I will email everybody the list for this weekend.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Okay. On that note, I think I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
All right. Don't everybody talk at once.
Third.
Okay. I think I got Mary with the motion, Mike with the second, Teddy with the third.
No, I think it was Rich.
Yep.
Oh,
Rich.
Rich with the second?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Roll call vote. Richard Bursch.
Aye.
Mike LaRouche.
Aye.
Andrea Burnap.
Aye.
Teddy Doucette.
Aye.
Mary Wilson.
Aye.
And I for myself. The meeting of the Lunenburg Conservation Commission is adjourned at 10:35 p.m. on March 4th, 2026. Everyone have a wonderful night.
Thank you. You too.
Thank
You too.
you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.